I used to do lots of things.
I used to do things and I'd say things and Jesus, I was evil. Take things and break things and Jesus, I was evil.
So we're recording.
Are we?
Here we are.
No, we are.
Yes, baby.
Oh,
When do we start?
start right now. Welcome.
Why are you always eating on the show? Every show, like, why don't we wait?
It's for the OSMR. Is it OSMR?
ASMR.
Oh, I love that stuff. Here, give me a chip.
No.
Just
Let us
chewing,
know.
just chewing to the mic.
He does this at everything. Like, rub shit on
He
the-
does this to everything.
Are you ASMR, Nate?
Huh?
Are
Yeah.
you-
Why
I'm
do you-
all the
Why do you-
Do you identify as ASMR?
Yeah.
Who's
Yeah.
you? Why don't you introduce the guests?
Okay, we
This
have
is your home,
Nate, Anthony, Alma, and me.
brother Nate.
Thanks, everyone.
Oh, me too.
Do I look at the camera? Oh, we got this guy
Hi.
too, Ben. Hello. All right, cool. So this is the musicians
13th
round table.
13th episode of TRM, the Geckless Musecast.
Yeah. Well, this is like the bootleg one, though. This is we're all in person.
This is the Bastards Unite.
Yeah.
Bootleg? What's bootleg about it?
Because we're in person and recording.
What is bootleg?
Do they have to like download it on LimeWire? Or
I'm
what's
thinking
We're
of
gonna do-
doing something where it's
We're
like
gonna
if we
do
get
a
like
podathon.
50 subscribers, then we'll share it or something.
Mm.
That'll take like 4 years,
Deluxe.
Yeah,
Wait,
what?
I feel like if it's bootleg though, you
Yeah,
need to
it's
like
like
move the
before it's
camera
gonna happen.
like, behind the fence.
though.
No one will.
Yeah.
Okay, so no one will ever
and
see
have the
this.
microphone so you hear like a cat like playing
Yes.
with a toy, and then that makes it like more grit, you know?
We want maximum grit.
Yeah.
Maximum grit.
It's
for
very
bootleg.
So
gritty.
reset up this whole thing.
This is a
We're
podathon.
starting over.
All right, let's start over. 1, 2, 3, go. I'm
Welcome.
We're here in beautiful East LA,
Northeast LA.
Northeast LA. It's my first time in California.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me,
Really?
Joe.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
This is your
Welcome,
first time out
comrade.
west.
Yeah, farthest west I've been before was Vegas.
And he's sleeping in my bed, too.
Are you serious?
Nice.
Yeah.
Sorry, together?
Yeah.
Awesome.
What's wrong with that?
I shared a bed with a 19-year-old girl for
How'd that-
a
what happened
year and a
next?
half, 2 years of my life.
What happened after
And we
that?
saved a lot of money.
Nice.
So it was great. And I learned a lot of
Yeah.
cool words. Like I got to keep up with the young people.
What
I always had
Words.
access.
How old was she? How old
She
were
was
you?
19. I was
Oh.
28, 29. I very recently changed.
I think I've seen that one.
hmm
She
It's
was
like a French
stepsister?
film.
She was
Yeah.
stepsister?
Yes. Yeah, it was good.
Hmm.
It was good. It made me realize I'm very out of touch with Gen Z, and I don't care.
That's
I
fine.
just really don't care.
So,
Yeah,
what are we
Gen Z
talking
stuff.
about
Oh, yeah, so
today?
you, musicians. So
Musicians.
you two are in a band. So you guys have a pretty eclectic sound. Like, how would you describe your sound?
Oh,
In 3
no.
syllables or fewer?
And how many syllables?
3 fewer.
Syllables?
Three.
Syllables.
Syllables, yeah.
Next question.
All right, okay, I'll be a little bit easier. How would you describe your sound without using the letter E?
Impossible
I'm
task.
stuck.
Joe Garza.
Stuck.
Okay.
So, what
3
instrument do you play guitar?
Yes.
Anthony?
Yep.
Brother Nate, what do you play?
And banjo.
And banjo.
Yeah, he plays banjo too.
Who sings?
He plays the voice.
Yeah,
Who
we
plays
both,
the
we
voice?
both sing. We both sing. We both
Okay.
sing. Well, you preach, I guess.
I
I sing Pour Me Two Fingers.
Well,
It's like-
everybody
it's
sings
spoken
Pour Me Two
blues.
Fingers.
It's
Everybody
a communal
sings Pour Me.
song. It's a communal song.
It's like a spoken
Preach.
blues.
It's like a spoken.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Kind of, yeah.
How about the famous spoken blues?
Well, there's the talking blues.
It's a really cool blues.
Oh,
Wow.
is that a genre?
Yeah, it is.
Talking blues?
Yeah.
And they play.
If you want to get to heaven, let me tell you what to do.
And they just talk.
Yep.
Instead of singing.
What do I do
Okay.
if I
Yeah.
want to get to heaven?
I don't know. I don't remember that one. And then there's the talking union blues. If you want higher wages, let me tell you what to do.
Oh, hell's yeah.
What do I do for that?
So you got to organize. You
Solidarity
gotta stick it to the boss.
Oh, like
Yes.
Woody Guthrie?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Well,
there we
Woody
go.
Guthrie has the talking blues, and then Pete Seeger shifted to the talking union blues.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
How did you guys all meet?
I'm friends with his wife.
Yes.
Nice.
I was in a Bible study with his wife.
How is Catholicism
a
treating you, by
decade
the way?
ago? I'm going to mass regularly. I'm not Catholic yet.
You're not yet?
I don't know if I will be.
We just let you in like where I thought right away.
Well, I don't take the Eucharist, which is like the
Oh.
main event.
That's
I
true.
am excluded.
That's like our
and I-
Super Bowl.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're Catholic. Yes,
Catholic.
you are, aren't you?
Yeah. I mean, I
Yeah.
dabble.
Yeah.
I dabble when I need it. To me, that's what it's about. It's when I need it.
Okay.
Is that selfish?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I dabble
Sounds very
regularly.
Sounds very-
I dabble regularly, but only partially because I can't get the full thing.
Mm.
But
Lapsed.
Are you on
What'd
your
you
way?
Lapsed.
lapsed. You're a lapsed Catholic, of course, because you're Mexican.
No, yeah.
Am I on my way? I'm not sure. My boyfriend, and this is totally derailing the story of how I met these gentlemen
And music.
and
We'll
music.
get there.
But
I want.
it's true.
We're taking an off ramp. We'll go
Off
back.
ramp.
We'll get back on that
Okay,
freeway.
there's an
That's
on-ramp.
what we call it here.
There's an on-ramp.
Yeah.
My boyfriend just discovered the Byzantine Sect.
Oh fuck
Oh,
yeah!
wow.
Which-
I'm all about the
They're
Byzantines.
very different. They
Wait,
literally
but
the
Byzantine
priests can
sect
get
of
married.
Catholicism, or you
Of
mean Greek
Catholicism.
Orthodox?
Yeah,
You mean
so it was
Byzantine
absorbed
Orthodox.
into the Catholic Church. So they're still subject to the Pope, but they operate really differently. Literally, the priests can have wives. They believe really
perfect.
differently about Mary. About like the emphasis is different. It's not really like a substantive difference, but there's certainly an emphasis. So that's what he's been getting into that. I could see myself becoming Byzantine, but
Oh, very fun.
music on ramp.
Let's go back.
Yeah.
We'll talk about this later, because I'm all about the Byzantines.
Talk about chant.
Get Byzantines.
So his wife was she was a music major
Yep.
too.
Yep.
You were a music major at UW Madison.
Yes.
She was a music major at UW Madison. I was a lowly student in community
Oh.
college.
Oh,
And
you're
we were
both
in
from
Bible
Wisconsin,
study.
right?
Yes.
Oh
Same-
shit.
same
Okay. Okay.
State. Yep. And that's how we met. And I didn't really meet Anthony or spend any time with him until we
So
moved
out here,
here. Yeah, and even so, it's not been until like more the last couple years
Yep.
where I've spent more time.
Yeah. You guys from the same area, Wisconsin?
Yeah,
Madison.
Madison.
Oh, you're from Madison?
Mm-hmm.
Nice college town.
It's a great college town.
I'm an Iowa Hawkeyes fan, though, so
Mm.
bummer.
I don't know what that means.
All right.
We're
good.
music majors, dude.
Oh.
That's true.
And then, who are you? And why are you here?
I'm still trying to figure that out.
Who let you
man.
in?
I'm not really sure.
Why haven't you left yet?
I'm not sure.
I call the cops.
I keep asking. I keep looking up.
Are you from Long Beach, brother Nate?
No, I'm not. But I am from Southern California.
Where?
Where?
Oh.
Yeah.
I was born in Downey.
Okay.
Grew up in Whittier.
Yeah.
And I've resided in the cities of Santa Fe Springs,
Oh.
Fullerton,
Yeah.
Brea,
That sounds-
Pico Rivera, and now Long Beach.
All right.
It's a good slate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I recognize some of those names.
Yeah, man.
You're gonna stay here, Nate?
Am I gonna stay here? Stay here.
Is he gonna migrate you to Austin?
Oh wait. So
Oh,
how you guys
I-
a band if you live in like different parts of the country?
It's true. It's a great question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ben DeLeslie.
Thank you. That's-
Ben
I always
DeLeslie.
ask
Finally, once in a big while.
I come through once in a while.
For now, flights are cheap.
It's the coffee and the
Yeah.
alcohol that's just like having a nice and I'm absorbing this cigar smoke from two sides.
In stereo.
It's stereos.
Stereo smoke.
You beat me to the
What's that
joke.
called? Stereo smoke? What's that?
Stereo smoptic.
What? What?
Stereo smoptic.
These are making up words.
Stereo
What-
smoke
what is this term?
It means you're getting smoke from your left channels and your right channels.
You guys are like the.
Dude, I'm
You
getting
guys are using like some like California.
channels.
By the way, speaking of, I wrote in the what's it called? Carpool lane
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
I always heard about that, but I never experienced it.
You
You
rode
guys-
by yourself?
No, in my Uber. If I
Oh.
was by
I
myself,
rode
I
by-
couldn't use the carpool lane.
They don't have that in Jersey.
No, it's not a thing. But
Really?
you always like hear about it in pop culture because a lot of
Yeah.
shit takes place in California.
Yeah.
I never like actually experienced it.
They have it in other states.
All right, well, that's your. Don't forget my narrative.
Don't they have it in Wisconsin? I'm really just trying to derail though.
I don't think so.
I could have sworn
No,
that.
I
Maybe I've
think
just
they
been
have it
here
in
so
Atlanta.
long.
If any a state, New Jersey needs it.
Oh.
We don't have it, but if any state needs it, Jersey does.
You guys got that turnpike and everything?
We do have a turnpike.
Isn't that Ohio?
We also
Oh.
have a parkway. I like the parkway more.
I'll just put that.
I use the parkway every
Jesus'
day.
face.
Thanks. Jesus' face.
Yeah, you know what it says in there?
This is the moment I become Catholic.
Yeah. No, this is the moment you get kicked out of Catholicism.
Mm.
Jesus hates it when you smoke.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
I don't
Jesus.
know, man.
Jesus hates it when you smoke. Oh, that old verse.
It's a
I'm
classic.
gonna
Yeah.
counter, man. If you look at the temple sacrifices, man, burnt offerings. I don't know, man.
No.
Just gonna toss that out
Well,
there.
God likes a little smoke down then too.
You know,
Yeah.
all that incense and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet fragrance, man.
Amen.
I bet Jesus smoked.
Yeah, there's that burning bush, you know?
God.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
You mean God?
Because they didn't have any lighters back then, so they just lit bushes on fire and they used to
Keep it burning. We'll need it. You idiot! Don't put it out.
Jesus passed it around with the apostles.
Yeah. Anyway, so how do you guys describe your music?
Oh no.
Without ease.
Without ease.
Dude, no, I
Without
get
ease.
these questions because like I hate it for like the writing side. Like, what's your book about? It's like,
I
ah, fuck,
know,
read
yeah.
it. Like, read the back.
Well, it's a little context. Because you guys have an interesting sound, though. 'cause
I don't
you
know
guys-
how I would describe it.
Yeah. How would you describe our music?
Yeah, that's better.
Without ease, please.
Electric.
Without ease. Take it easy.
Mad. Folk.
Mad, like mad as an angry
Angry.
or
Oh, okay,
crazy?
okay.
Mads and crazy.
Crazy
Manic folk.
Manic folk.
Manic folk.
Shit, I think you just invented a genre.
Yeah.
Folk. So
Holy
I have a
shit.
real problem with the word folk.
Why? What do you go through? Man?
Yeah, but I'm like an individualist. I fucking hate.
You hate being of the people.
Yes.
You're one of us.
Yeah,
Of
comrade.
who? I'm one of
Wait,
who?
us.
Who's
Comrade.
us?
Us, comrades.
The Highlanders.
We're
Wait a minute. Yeah.
They're also planning to break off from the Union.
Who?
The Highlanders.
Highland Park.
Yeah, they're gonna break
Oh.
off
From the Union?
State of Iowa.
It'll be like New Hampshire, Texas, and Highland Park.
It's a little 10-block area.
Is there any part of LA that has like any sort of like liberal progressive bend? Like anywhere that would be like, oh, this
Yeah.
is
Probably
the
South
hood.
Central.
A
Yeah,
lot of
it's
people
different because it's not. It's just not woke.
yeah.
It's
Which is fun. Yo, bringing that up because we were talking about, I think before we started recording, like the passports in New York. Only place I wouldn't get checked. They don't ask. Harlem.
yeah, of course.
The only place you don't
Yeah.
get you don't get. The only place you don't see BLM stuff and the worst. I can't fucking stand are the
In this house we believe.
Yes, that's me believe. I wanted to
How did
make
I know?
I wanted to make my own one of those, but like just totally like
Yeah, it's
different.
really
Like, we,
annoying.
in this
Have you
house,
seen the
we
counter?
believe.
The counter one of that? What was like?
That's what I want to make one.
It's,
Yeah, well-
it's very earnest.
Yeah, well, it's like in this house we believe in nuanced thinking, and there's multiple sides to every
No,
issue.
I don't
and
want
that's
that. I
what-
want to be like we
Rah,
believe
rah,
that the
rah.
government is run by pedophilic reptilians.
From another dimension.
Yes, yeah. I like that.
Oh.
Yeah, be like, oh my god, who are these people? It's a nice neighborhood.
Alex
Got
Jones for
spirit.
Prez. Like,
Yeah, like, Alex Jones was right about like some things, okay? Like not everything. No, yeah, we had this
What are
client. we had this client. I can't go into too much detail. Who like clearly has mental health issues, like a lot of clients. That's just the reality of it, and it's terrible. But
thank you.
she was going on about some, and like one of my coworkers was talking about it, and she was going on about some stuff with the CIA. I was like, actually, she's right about that. Like, she was right about that part, but most of it's wrong.
That's funny.
It does happen.
It does have, yeah, sometimes they're right. I'm like, no, okay, that's true. But the other stuff's crazy. I usually bow out whenever it gets around, whenever the Rothschilds get brought up.
The Rothschilds?
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm like, all right, I'm exiting this off ramp.
Yes.
Off
Why
ramp.
is that the?
Because anti-Semitism's right around the corner.
Yeah.
It really
right,
is.
right around that.
You know, I've met a lot of liberal anti-Semites in my day
Yeah.
living in cities, but not until I've been spending more and more time in North Dakota did I meet the Republican.
The real
anti-Semites.
good
The old school,
Yeah, and it
Sometimes-
always that was where
You know,
we
I
were.
hate to say this.
Good
Sometimes,
old-fashioned.
like when there was the scare or the uproar about Lil Nas X and the blood in the shoe and the
Uh-huh.
Satan, all that. I was like,
What?
Well, Lil Nas X came out with that
music
video where he's like twerking on Satan,
Yeah, I remember that.
and there was a moral panic.
Right.
You know, the
right.
children. I was like, oh my god, this is kind of nice. It's like 2004 again.
Yeah.
Like Republicans are going crazy about shit.
Dixie
And I'm like,
chicks.
yeah, it's like, oh, this is nice.
Dixie chicks.
Because we're so used to the left being crazy about this show. I'm like, you know what?
Oh.
Once in a while, they said have that old school,
Yeah.
the right is going
Classic.
crazy
It's great.
about pearl clutching crazy shit about pop culture.
Mhm.
Well,
Yeah.
that reminds me because we talked a little bit about it on the last episode, but I want to rant about it because I wrote a long ass article about it. It was the New York Times. They wrote an article.
Oh yeah.
Well, maybe we talked about this.
It was should we topple
Yes,
classic
we
rock
talked
songs
about
like
this.
Confederate
Yep.
statues? Like they changed the title. It just said, "Can we separate the art from the artist?"
What does it even mean to topple
Wait,
a
they
classic
changed-
rock song?
They
Yeah.
changed the art.
They changed the title. Yeah. It's preserved. It's still out there.
Yeah,
but,
I hate that.
What did they
But-
change it to?
Can we separate the art from the
We were
artist?
Oh,
wrong.
that's what the new
We were
one is.
dumb.
Yeah.
Wow.
Can we
what
separate it? What?
that's-
Yeah, just a boring blah.
Hey, I'll write that article for you. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it. Sure. Yes, you can.
You can't-
Well, I mean, it's
That's
just funny
okay.
because for the longest time, it was always the right that was going against rock and roll. It was always the right. It was like,
Yeah,
oh, it's
for
obscene,
years.
there's too much sex, it's too
It
violent,
is.
it's satanic,
it is.
blah, blah.
It is. It is all of those things.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Yeah,
the
that's
point.
the thing. And then now you see people on the left like, oh, it's Brown Sugar by the Rolling Stones. It's like, that song came out 50 years ago. Like, why? And I wrote this in the article. Like, it's a luxury belief. Like, it's
Yes.
like your life is so easy
Yeah.
that
Yep.
I'm gonna be offended by this thing that predates my existence.
I also listen to that Barry White's podcast.
Oh,
So that was just recommended to me.
I also listen to that
recently,
Barry
but I
White.
haven't.
Which
I
is
haven't
true. Which
listened
is
to
a
it.
great.
Yeah.
I forget who she has on. That episode is so great because it has one of those moments where she has on someone. I know we're like podcast Inception right now, but she has on someone who like had a really tough upbringing, mixed race guy, like white and Asian, and I think he spent like 5 years in 6 different orphanages. His mom was arrested for neglect, and his dad just like left him right away. And he like says something, and he joins the army or the Marines, gets into Yale, and some girl's just like, he has some opinion about something. I think about the Halloween costumes.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that was the whole thing at Yale
It
Oh,
was
yeah.
like 5 years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Maybe
and
more.
she was like, "Oh well, you're just too privileged," and he's like, "You don't know shit about my
Yeah.
dad." Like he was like kind of brush off at the time.
Yeah.
It's like this guy has had one of the hardest upbringings I've heard of in like a 21st century America, and it's like, "Oh well, you're privileged. You won't understand."
Yeah.
And meanwhile, it turns out she like grew up in Greenwich, Connecticut, one of
Yeah.
the wealthiest towns in America. Went to Exeter, like had every privilege imaginable, but it's just like, oh well, you take a look at him. And,
Yeah.
yeah,
I get told
privileged.
I'm privileged all the time on media.
Well, you are.
I know, yeah. No, but that's the thing. I was like, because I'm Mexican. I'm not saying like I had a rough childhood, but it's one of those things. It's like whenever I read an article talking about how stupid identity politics is, I always go, oh, this is your white privilege talking. And it's like you know nothing about me. I didn't mention anything about my upbringing in this article.
Weren't you
also-
supposed to give me a sombrero for this episode?
Oh
No, I'm serious. We talked about that like on the first episode. I was like, when I visit LA, can I wear a sombrero? Because you're Mexican and it's okay.
Oh yeah.
It's okay. I have a Mexican.
Ben, what the fuck? Just,
And they point to me. He's like,
he's right here. He's
That's
cool
great.
with it.
I feel like they're. We were talking about this the other day with Lightfoot in Chicago.
Oh, she's the best.
Oh yeah, she's a
I fucking love Lori
yeah, right.
Lightfoot.
But
I
what
just
you're
thought you were
talking
talking
about.
about a band. I thought there
Oh,
was a
yeah.
band named Lightfoot.
No, they're probably.
It is a great
oh,
name.
Lori Lightfoot.
She
It
has
is
a
a
great.
good-
It's
it's
a
a
great
good
name wasted on a
Yeah.
shitty person.
Yeah.
So what did
Great
you do?
name.
What did Lori do?
What? It doesn't even matter what she did. It's just this. It's the entire move of starting to talk about whether somebody's privileged or
Yeah,
not.
yeah.
It's this really dirty little chess move. I see it
Yeah.
because you're shifting so if somebody makes a whole bunch of statements,
Yeah.
you don't say anything about any of those statements,
Yeah.
and you go, let's go and talk about them, and let's not address
Yeah.
any of that stuff, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden you win for some reason.
Right.
Well, in
exactly,
some
yeah.
people's eyes, yes. This is also the person who said.
Well, that's the thing. In some
she's
social
not-
circles, it's like that's like you just dropped a nuclear bomb on their arguments. With that, it was well, you're privileged, so therefore, ha. It's
And everybody goes like, oh yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
good argument.
I
Right.
think there is pushback to a lot of that. And I don't think people are. I think it had its like apogee in like 2020. Like there was that point in the
Yeah.
summer where people really bought it. I think that is losing steam.
Yeah.
This being said, this is the person who said, "I'm only taking questions from people of color."
Yeah,
like this is
that's right,
yeah. She's like not speaking to any white reporters.
Yeah.
To be honest, I kind of respect it. I kind of respect it. If you're gonna say, because I would love to say I'm not taking. I would love to not take questions from white reporters. If I was gonna say that, I would do it because they tend to be the most annoying ones.
Like it's such a white.
I'm not
question.
speaking. I would love to just be able to say I'm not speaking to white people today.
Your
And
question loves pumpkin spice, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I would
Yeah,
love to
that's
say
the
I'm
point.
not
So-
taking questions from white people today and just watch everyone melt down.
But I do want to ask you guys, like, is it easy for you guys to separate the art from the artist? Like, are there any exceptions for you guys at all, where you're just like, that person's so bad, I can't even support what they do? Or
I think I don't separate the art from the artist. I think I'm actually not for that as an idea.
Okay, how so?
Because I think that art is usually expression of some sort,
Right.
even if that expression is expression of non-expression in
Right.
some like very
Like a John Cage sort of thing?
exactly. It is expression of some sort, and so it means something.
Yeah.
So like we were talking about with rock and roll. Rock and roll is satanic. It is sexual. It is all of these things. It is subversive. It's supposed to be dangerous. It's supposed to say, "Fuck you, Dad.
Yeah.
I can do what I want to do."
Yeah.
And I think trying to separate it, say, no, these are just nice songs that we had when we were kids.
Yeah.
They could be nice songs that we had when we were kids,
Right.
and it can be "Fuck you, Dad."
Yeah.
And if you don't like that, then don't listen to it.
Right.
Yeah, imagine if, like, because they were saying this shit during, like, Rock Around the Clock.
Yeah.
Like, that
Elvis
was...
and all
this-
that, the thrusting.
Right.
Yeah, but no, like, even that, like, I get... It's still wrong, right? But like, I get that, like, he's gyrating, like, okay, fine,
Right.
it's still okay.
But he's also borrowing from an even more sexual subculture of black rock and roll at the
Yeah.
time, like
The
Little
term,
Richard and
the
stuff
term
like that.
rock and roll was slang for sex.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Huh.
It was like in the South. It was
But I mean, like, I remember "Rock Around the Clock" was considered like satanic music. It's like the most innocent song. And but imagine if it was cut off there. It's like, oh, well, okay, we can't. Like, there wouldn't be all the music we have today. Like everything, all American music comes from like black rock and roll.
Yeah.
Like,
But it's,
like
it's
everything stems
Puritanism.
from.
I feel like
Right.
it's the modern left is a puritanical force.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
And so
it's a
they-
religion.
Right. And so they don't want sex because when you're sexual, you don't get things done.
Right.
You spend all day masturbating or having sex or doing drugs or whatever. When you're hedonistic, you can't build society, this wonderful progressive society.
Right.
And so I think pretty much all puritanical forces are anti-sex and anti-sexual rebellion and hedonism.
I mostly agree with that. I don't know about the modern left because it seems very sex positive, but they can.
It's a weird
I think
mix,
it's
though,
fake.
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
A weird mix?
Well, it's funny, like they'll get uptight about like heterosexual sex, like between like a man and a woman. Like they'll get upset about like we're just like, that's not queer enough. It's not
Right.
this enough, whatever.
Sure.
But that's
And
still from the
about
purity.
and about
though.
men making any kind of advance
Right.
onto a man.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like for a guy to just go up to a girl on the street and be like, "You're beautiful. I
Right.
would like to talk to you." Is very
That's true. And then they've
Uh-huh.
expanded the definition of rape too, where it's just like if a woman has a bad sexual
Well, it's not
experience,
rape
that's
anymore.
rape now.
Well, because it's not rape anymore; it's sexual assault.
Right.
That's the new. And I think the good example that came out
Right.
was there was I forget her name. She was married to is it Anthony Weiner?
Sure.
And
Oh.
that's
What's
she's
what's her name?
gorgeous.
She has like
What is
Ubadine?
she has like a
Who-
Middle
Abedin-
Eastern
Abedin-
name.
Abedin.
Yeah, well, she had something where like she had
Scooby-Dooby.
she had a moment. She had a moment with. Yeah, I know who you're saying. Yes,
Huma
her.
Abedin.
Yeah.
Huma Abedin.
She had a moment with
Oh, you want Sculpin?
a congressman or senator or something, and there was a miscommunication, and he made a move on her, and they kissed.
Yeah.
He like invited her back to his apartment, and they kissed or whatever. And long story short, you know, she kind of came forward about it recently, but not like she wasn't being vindictive. It was more just a conversation.
Right.
But then like the title of it is, you know, Senator sexually assaults
Yeah.
this
Yep.
person.
Yeah.
And she even says like, no, I understand where he was coming from. He apologized. Like it was just a miscommunication, all that. Like,
Yeah.
but there's this thirst for that. There's this thirst for the idea that there are, because I mean there are some.
Yeah.
And in my
There are
profession,
there are lots.
in my profession, it does happen. They're very they're horrible men who attack and
Sure,
rape and harass women. So let's focus on the real ones, not on
Yeah.
miscommunications,
Dry as
you know,
bone.
misreading of, because I think there is.
And let's empower women to communicate with themselves.
Oh!
We're good. Sorry.
Because you don't. So just because there's a like a blinking light that says to walk across the street doesn't mean you're not going to look both ways and make
No.
sure that some idiot isn't
No.
coming.
But
like
you
40
shouldn't
miles
have
an
to,
hour.
right?
No.
You shouldn't have to.
And
But-
we should probably make songs about how you shouldn't
You
have to
shouldn't
look both.
have to. Yeah, you should. It's really like you deserve to not have to.
Yes, right, deserving
Yeah.
rights.
But like no one would raise their kids that way because that's
Yeah.
not a way to move around in the world. Like things are just inherently dangerous
Yeah.
and men are inherently kind of like dicks. Like
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, for
so
sure.
There's
so
a-
like if women aren't the ones taking the control and like learning how to stand up for themselves and
Thanks,
look both ways,
Yeah.
then like no one's gonna do it for them.
Right.
Yeah.
It's it was right when the Me Too movement really blew up. There was an actress. She's on that show, How I Met Your Mother, or whatever.
Yeah.
There's an actress. You know
Wait, which one?
Mayim Bialik or something like that. Mayim.
Yeah.
Wait,
No,
she was
how-
on How I Met Your Mother.
She was on Big Bang Theory.
Big Bang. No, that's, yeah, that's
oh
right.
yeah,
One of those
she's a
shows.
new Jeopardy
Yes.
host.
Yeah, that's her. And she was talking. She wrote what I thought was a pretty measured article, and it was like, you know, there are a lot of young women who moved to LA, and they're very pretty, and they show up to auditions and meetings with executives. You know, showing, you know, they're dressing in skimpy outfits and they're acting flirty because they think that'll get them a job. And you know, I think we should discourage that because, you know, like, be professional because that'll discourage men from treating you like you're just an object. And she got so much pushback, and she even said in the article, like, yeah, like, you know, the entertainment industry is filled with a lot of sleazy men. But you know, like, but women, you know, there's some things you can do to you know, discourage that. And she got so much shit for that.
Yep.
And it's like, again, it's like that look both ways things. Like, yeah, of course, a woman should be able to wear whatever she wants in an interview in LA and not have to worry about, you know, getting hit on. But at the same time, it's like, be careful though. Like,
Yeah. Getting caught up on shoulds is
Yeah.
a real
Yeah.
issue.
Yeah.
Well, Me Too movement died with Biden.
yeah, because what's her face?
Well,
Tara
yeah, they
Reid.
couldn't
Yeah,
possibly
Tara
keep
Reid.
it going at this
Yeah,
point.
it was like, you know,
Yeah.
they treated everyone the same, which just was not the case.
Oh.
You know, there were some monsters, and then there were people who were very innocent,
Oh.
but they treat them all the same. And
Yep.
and then when, you know, the savior
Oh.
came, they didn't bother.
It wasn't
So
clear to
it's
me
like-
that there was a strong case there.
Yes, but you're right. And there were a lot of not strong cases
Not
for other
strong
people
cases
too,
everywhere.
and
Yeah,
they
I
all
agree.
treated those as if they were strong, but this one did not. That's
Yeah.
right.
I think
Definitely
it's
see that.
conflicted with the whole believe all women.
Yeah. Except
Yeah.
when those women are saying something bad against
Right.
somebody who we very badly need in office.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly, yeah. But hey, so do you guys get political in your music at all? Do you guys think about current events, or you guys just kind of do your own thing?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
do
You haven't heard their new song, "Pass the Infrastructure Bill"?
Oh,
It's their new hit.
Yeah. Right.
I think it
We need reconciliation.
You have to find what it means to be political, I think. Because like, I think we have songs that maybe would share a perspective, but I don't know if that necessarily means that word political.
Okay.
It's tough because activists are really annoying.
Yes.
And
This is true.
but it's also difficult not to have strong political opinions
Right.
given the weird sickness that our society is in at the moment.
Right.
Where this is all we talk about and think about all day long.
Right.
Maybe
hard
it's
to
really
avoid.
healthy. Maybe it's just our immune system activating.
Right, we all have this weird fever trying to get out
Maybe.
this politics virus.
Oh. But are you guys conscious of it, or is it just sort of
Yeah.
like, sometimes it kind of creeps in, but we just kind of...
I'm not. I don't have an agenda planned out.
I feel like my songs are preachier.
Maybe.
I think so.
That
Preacher
seems
the
about
brother
right.
Nate?
Yeah.
I haven't preached yet. That'll be coming up soon out of getting. I'm gonna have a short sermon
Okay, cool.
coming up. But
Dude, when you're on stage, you are just like freedom embodied.
Alma and I,
that's
we started
cool.
cracking up when we saw you guys at the Universal Bar and Grill, and you were playing, and then you were getting ready, and then there was just one note, and then you just you played it.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh,
like that
you're
one
so
note.
good.
and
oh
it
yeah,
was
man.
boom.
That's
and
a
then
that's
the
a
low
low
C.
C.
Oh,
That's a
yeah.
low C.
It is a low
That's
C.
the
you played it like you were just like, I'm
Like-
gonna implode the skyscraper.
You know, so
It's the best note of the whole set.
So part of that is me being silly,
Yeah.
and part of that is like stage antics, but also part of it is me being completely serious. That
Yeah.
when you I see music as disturbing silence.
Yeah. Mm.
Right.
Mm.
So it's when you play a note, you should play it with energy, and
Yeah.
especially for that tune. Some of that's my nerves too, because I get scared every time we play
Really?
that song. So I'm like, here I go, I'm gonna be silly, and hopefully I'll smile, and then I'll relax a little bit.
I mean, that's a tactic. It's a
Yeah.
great tactic.
Yeah.
That was my tactic. I mean, I actually think I learned from a media coach that I was working with last year that a lot of times when you're nervous, as a female at least, you revert back to whatever worked for you in high school
Huh.
to get you through socially. And so there's a lot of hee hee hee,
Yeah.
don't And a lot of self-deprecation too, which is candidly super annoying when people do that from the stage.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that from either of you, but the silliness can really break the
Did you
the
say arrogant?
ice.
No.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah, we're fucking awesome. You
I would
guys should
prefer
be
that.
so lucky.
Any day of the week, I would prefer arrogance over self-deprecation on stage.
Yeah.
It's such an amateur move when people are like, so I have a cold, like, don't judge me too much.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, I hate that.
I hope you like it.
Singers are always getting over bronchitis.
oh my god.
Always.
Every time-
They all, literally,
Perpetually.
every singer I know is always just getting over something.
Just got
Yeah.
bronchitis like 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
I still have it.
I still have it.
Can I toss in something? The previous question,
Yeah.
separating the art
Yeah,
from
man.
the artist.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
I actually
free fire.
I have this thought that when you have art, right, you have a piece that you worked on, a painting, whatever it is, and you display it. As soon as someone listens to it, observes it, has communion with it, partakes in it, right? They are in essence part of the stakeholder now, and they actually also maybe crafted their own meaning, and then it doesn't matter what the artist necessarily meant, because it can turn into another motive. And I think also this idea of separating the art from the artist, I want to say, I think you guys refer to the tune Brown Sugar by the Stones.
Yeah.
There's other tunes that I think are really easy triggers for people, like Sweet Home Alabama.
Right.
Right?
What's wrong with that?
So, what I'm saying, though, is I think some of the people that listen to these tunes, I don't know if we can necessarily associate that what some people perceive as values that are being promoted are the values that are being celebrated by people who enjoy that music. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I think that this idea of separating the art from the artist is I don't think that everyone that listens to a tune reads a bio about the artist and all the details of their personal life.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't know if I don't think art really belongs to the artist is what I'm saying. That's the first point.
Right.
And then also we have to define how the listener, how the promoter of the art, right, the consumer of the art, whatever you want to make them, the patrons, right?
Yeah.
How they actually promote ideologies, those are different concepts.
Yeah.
Right? Right?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. Well,
It's really good, Nate.
I mean, it's no, you're right. I mean, it's like the way that whenever an audience member engages with a certain work or a certain piece, they're bringing their own baggage. They're bringing their own either political views or religious views or anything like that, and so that can really color the way they listen or the way their experience with it. So to give you an example, in 1985. During the whole Parents Music Resource Center thing, Tipper Gore going after heavy metal and pop music and stuff. Dee Snider, who's the singer of Twisted Sister, he went in front of Congress and he testified. And he gave such an amazing speech. It's on YouTube. Check it out. But he pulls it out of his pocket. He's got long hair and he's wearing a tank top and it's this "Play It Loud, Mother." And then and then he pulls out his speech and out of his pocket, and it's a really eloquent, well-written speech. And Tipper Gore went after the Twisted Sister song. It's called "Under the Blade." And what she said was that the song was about sadomasochism, and he goes, "That song's actually about my friend undergoing throat surgery. There's nothing sexual about it or perverted. I'm just writing a song about how scary it is going under surgery." And he's actually telling her this to her face. He goes, "Tipper Gore went looking for sadomasochism, and she found it."
Yeah.
But it's one of those things, and he brings that up versus it's we can't just put a one size fits all moral standard to every song that's ever played on the radio.
Yeah.
I have this song. Did I talk about this in my interview with you guys? Take 21, which was optioned for Showtime's The Circus show, which was all about the Trump administration just being a cluster.
No.
And
I don't think we talked about that.
oh man, well the song is it's about human nature and it's kind of if anything, more against activist culture, which says I know best.
Right.
And it's more just look inside yourself and really ask yourself why you would know best. That's basically the thesis.
Yeah.
And I know why it was optioned to be in the credits of an episode of The Circus. It's because they thought that it had this angsty, anti-Republican establishment vibe. In fact, there's a line from it that I have on a T-shirt. The line is, "Those who want revolution just enough to wear a T-shirt." And my friend wore that to one of the protests last summer and sent me a picture, and I was like, "Oh, That's great. Keep it up. But it really shows you. I mean, people are welcome to interpret the song however they want. I encourage them to. But it was funny to me that these people were like, "Oh yeah, she's on our team. Like this is a song we want to use," and it totally wasn't. Like the irony of if they had used it would have been so rich.
Right.
I think it's part of the beauty of whether it's music or with me. It's like even my editors will, like my main editor will, read through my book the first time and like point out things to me that I didn't consciously write, like this topic or this character trait or something like that. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I'm not going to change it one way or the other, but it's interesting how she pulled that out of the story. And I do think there is something for the as artists, you put out and you want to get a message across. But I think
put out.
You put out.
Unless you're
true. You put out your art and you work, extremely hard to do that, and it's very, you can feel very vulnerable doing that, whether it's writing a song or a book or a podcast or whatever it is. And I think part of the beauty is you're not going to please everyone, and that's okay. Some people might interpret it one way or another, and as long as it's out there, that's a good thing, right? A big part of this podcast is censorship and being against censorship. And what I think going back to separating the art from the artist, how can you not? Because I think, in my personal opinion, most people are not great. I do. I think that a lot of people can be pretty shitty, especially people who are millionaires and who live reckless lifestyles, and that's okay. And it shouldn't matter really what their personality is or what their politics are. Is the work commendable? Is it whether it's a movie or a song or whatever it is? I mean, are we going to stop listening to Thriller? I'm not going to stop listening to Thriller. Right. Because Michael Jackson raped a bunch of little boys. Oh. Are you?
I'm like, is the verdict in on that? I don't want it to be in.
Yeah. Oh, is that not?
That to some degree.
I don't think people care with him.
Well, but like, why?
Like, he kind of gets by it.
But exactly, that's the point.
Nobody's going to listen to Bill Cosby ever again, but everybody's going to keep listening to him.
But no, to be honest, I grew up, I love The Cosby Show.
Yeah.
And if I saw reruns, I would probably watch them. Yeah. And that's okay. Bill Cosby's an evil motherfucker, but like, I think I'm going to watch The Cosby Show. I like it.
So I think when people ask the question of separating the art from the artist, I think at least in this context, it usually means like, so say the artist was a rapist, but you love their music, for example. So does that mean that when you listen to their music, you're listening to rape music? I think that's kind of I know, like this is an extreme case.
Well, maybe if they made it, maybe it was their rape music.
But I think that's the thing that people get at, because I mean, it's like, a lot of artists have done some terrible things. Yeah. But we can enjoy it. Like, okay, what they did was bad, but I can still enjoy it.
Ignition Remix is a bump. Like. Ignition Remix.
Oh my god, I love Ignition.
Exactly. Yeah. It's incredible.
And that's the thing, if something's good enough, like Michael Jackson, people choose not to hear because they don't, like, it's like a Christian who doesn't want to listen to secular music, but like sometimes it's just so good you have to, even though the lyrics are dirty. Like,
secular music is really good, guys. I fucking love secular music.
I know AM's good. Have you listened to FM? Like,
oh my god.
Those secular.
It reminds me of the Chick-fil-A thing.
Yeah.
There's so many people that want to boycott Chick-fil-A,
Chick-fil-A.
but Chick-fil-A is
so good.
It's so bad.
Alright, we can talk about that in another episode. Yeah. But people love Chick-fil-A enough that even though they've tried...
What? Okay.
I'm a fan. Even though people have tried to boycott Chick-fil-A, it's never stuck. Because,
there are a lot of... I know a lot of gay people. I know of some gay people who are like, nah, it's that good. Like, we're not giving that shit up. I think it's fine. I don't get the craze for it.
It's like a 6 degrees of homophobia thing, because like it's like
oh my god.
Because it's not Chick-fil-A that discriminates. It's like the owner who donates money to a church. That it's like oh come on, it's so far removed from actual homophobia.
But there is but we do the same thing when we. Yes, amen.
Oh, there's a.
Fuck up being out strapped and slut your goddamn dirty ugly whore.
Wow.
Fuck you. Oh.
That's our guest for the next episode.
Yeah,
actually, she'll be on tomorrow.
Oh my god.
Tomorrow's episode.
Yeah,
This is
one of
2
them.
years ago. And good to see you again, ma'am.
What was I? What was I saying?
Something
About
about
secular music?
Christians.
Chick-fil-A, Christians. Oh, but we don't. Okay.
She's a Christian.
This goes both ways though, because when you think about people who want to like buy local,
Yeah.
what they're wanting is that experience of the art with the artist, so to speak. And this case, the artist is like a local drugstore or something over Walgreens. You know, so I don't know that we ever can, because it is so integral to the experience.
Right.
And in a small town, like spending as much time in small town North Dakota as I do,
Yeah.
like I love like the richness of that local experience. Like there is something special about it.
Right.
I'm not like a buy local fanatic, but it is
Yeah.
part of the brand. And like if you look up to Michael Jackson as an icon,
All right,
that's
but what
going to
if?
be part of your
What
experience.
What food do you buy?
I
in
don't.
North Dakota?
I'm not the one to. They
Oh.
certainly don't
All right,
buy
well-
local up there.
Oh,
They
you
grow
don't.
They can't grow anything up there except
Oh.
corn and soy.
Okay. Well, what do you buy in North Dakota?
There is actually a local butcher.
Okay, so what if this local butcher has like fantastic meat,
Mhm.
right? But he's also one of these anti-Semites.
Yeah, there we go.
Well, like,
That's it.
It's that good. Like, it's really good
It's
sausage.
one of
Can
the
you separate the
anti-Sem-
sausage from the anti-Semite?
How
Yeah.
anti-Semitic?
Is this like
Very,
a Curb
like-
Enthusiasm thing?
Oh my God.
Like, very anti-Semitic.
So then does it start? I mean, like the alternative is
But the
choking out
sausage
this
is
person.
so good.
How good?
It's that good.
You
Well,
sound like every guy who's ever tried to convince me to like sleep with them.
Well,
sausage
okay,
is so good,
It's so
Alma.
good, but he's really, really
I
anti-Semitic.
am very anti-Semitic, but
Yeah.
So unless it's part of
He's
my...
measuring noses when you walk in.
But how do you know that? Like if so if he,
He's got
if
the thing on the
no,
wall.
No. So if he's measuring noses when you walk in, that's part of your customer experience.
And-
But
and
he's,
throw-
if
and-
he's
Okay,
just
that's true.
secretly-
All right, fine. He's not measuring noses, but and I have a very big nose, and okay, so but he's like
I know a lot of gays.
you found out that he's very anti-Semitic
Yeah.
on your own time,
Right.
on his own time too. It's not in his butcher shop.
Yeah.
He doesn't have, swastikas and shit like that.
Thank God.
$2 in the
Yeah.
Nazi
Oh,
jar?
yeah.
Nazi jar. Put an IOU.
Yeah.
Are you still buying that sausage?
I don't know.
Is it
Well, you're not
spicy or
separating
is it
the
sweet?
art from the artist. then.
If I'm not, and I haven't staked a claim either way. You'll notice I haven't formally weighed in on the issue.
Is this
But-
a Curb Your Enthusiasm
I
episode?
don't know.
Is it?
Yeah. So Larry David, he's Jewish, and
Oh,
but there's a Palestinian chicken place.
Yeah.
And like the owner hates Israel, but he's like, but the chicken's really good though.
Yeah.
So he starts eating there, and there's like all these protests, and then
Oh,
like,
yeah.
and there was like, yeah, you get away from there. They hate Jews. He's like, have you tried the chicken though?
I think I could do it, but
Yeah.
could but would
I think I would be inclined
to continue buying or to stop
to
buying?
continue buying, but I
Yeah.
don't know for sure.
Yeah.
And I mean, relationships are complicated,
Yeah.
so it's really hard
Yeah.
to say with something like this. But really, like, do I want him to not have a livelihood because of his horrific beliefs?
Yeah.
Like, I hold beliefs that some people think are super horrific.
Right.
I want to have a livelihood still.
Yeah.
Are there
I don't know where I
beliefs
would
that go
draw
too
that
far
line.
for you? So if
Yeah,
it's
that's
not
tough.
anti-Semitism, whatever. Is there a belief if they are giving money to cults that are going around stealing people's firstborn children and sacrificing them, but the sausage is good,
Yeah, I mean that's a
Yeah.
downstream societal ripple effect.
right? You're
And
like,
I
well,
could vote with my dollar and say, okay, I don't want that.
Yeah,
But-
and we always
But
talk
this
about
is-
this.
like, you don't want him to have the dollars.
I
to
always
donate.
say,
right.
but I always
Ugh,
say, like,
it's
boycotting, I'm cool with boycotting.
Yeah.
To me,
Boycotts
boycotting.
are awesome.
Yeah, boycotts
as a
are not
tool, yeah.
cancel culture, and I know we talk about this
Yeah,
all the
yeah.
time. It's like, as a consumer, that's one of your few
Levers that you can pull, yeah.
Exactly. Yes, and so again, compelled speech is also protected under the First Amendment. Like, you don't have to do
It's better
something,
when it's wet.
but you don't have to buy from here. so that's fine too. It's more of a preference thing where
Right.
is the sausage that good, or is it more important to stop kidnapping of infants?
Oh, sure.
I don't know.
What do you guys think?
I'm
Brother
not
Nate,
sure.
what would you do? Would you go buy sausage from an anti-Semite? How bad do you want his sausage?
I think that if we're going to judge an individual, every part of the individual is open for judgment. If we use that as our criteria, then we're all eliminated.
Hmm.
So I think my decision would be to interact with the person. I would interact with a person that I thought was despicable or hateful. Yeah, I totally would. Because otherwise, what do I do?
The woman who just walked by?
She needs more help than. I'm not a Christian. I wouldn't call myself that, but I do dig some of the ideas of Jesus' teachings. And part of his was like, I didn't come for the healthy, I came for the sick.
Yes.
She actually needs a lot more help than
She
we
needs
do.
a ton of help. Yes.
And I'm not saying that we're not.
She's rehearsing for a play. That was what she was doing.
No, but that's suffering in a different way that I don't even understand, you know? So I think that when I experience something like that, it's actually very disturbing because I think that there's like a heavy level of anguish in the soul. You know, like we can sit here and like talk shit and joke, right?
Yeah.
But like,
Absolutely.
but someone else is like, that's a different bag that someone's carrying, you know?
Yeah, she needs serious help. And
So unless we take a policy of euthanizing people we don't like or disagree with us,
I'm against that policy, by the way.
I mean, people have done it before. So unless we're going to like control thought and euthanize and really like make our society like one homogenous glop, then everyone's here to party. Yeah, if you kick them out of the party, they're going to start a party somewhere else, man.
Yeah.
So we all got to party together.
I'd go to that party.
Dang, Nate.
No.
Yo, Nate's coming with the deep cuts.
You really are.
No.
So when you say you'd interact with them,
Mm-hmm.
is that the same as you would
Would you buy her
exchange
sausage?
value with them?
Yeah, completely.
Yeah.
I whatever you do to the least of these, you do unto me. Yeah. Pray for your enemies. Pray for those who curse you. Right.
Yeah, literally.
Literally, yeah.
Yeah.
So and that's why
Yeah,
I don't know, man. Like I don't follow that nearly as severe as I think it's like proclaimed, right? But yeah, man, you can't ignore people.
Right.
You also
Which
have to
is
have mutual
exactly
interaction.
that's
though. You have to
exactly what the state has done, though. Like,
Yes.
they've ignored that issue.
I don't think it's the state's
manifested.
responsibility.
No, but
But
this-
it's not.
this-
It's not our responsibility either.
It is. Actually, I
It
disagree.
is.
I think it's completely
how-
our. I think it's
I think
completely
it's-
Mental
ours.
illness. We're
Yeah.
not professionals at that. Like how?
Yeah, you
Like
know
that-
what?
But
though?
that,
You know,
and that's
drug
what the state
abuse?
has done. The state has
Like-
offloaded our responsibility.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm with Anthony on this. Like, it's not our responsibility. Like you.
No.
No. I think we're not together on this.
Oh, we're not.
I don't think so. I'm saying that the state has done to us what you are espousing right now. I'm
What do you
saying
mean?
that the state does everything it can to atomize us and make sure that we are beholden to, quote, the experts, the professionals, the whatever, rather than being beholden to each other and helping each other. And so the state actually wants us to not be responsible for her.
And once it takes the power of responsibility for her, we don't get it back.
But if
Right.
but
'Cause
if there
the
is
more-
a state, isn't like even if you're like let's say you're a minarchist, right?
Right.
Like you believe in like very small
Yeah.
statehood.
This be-
Isn't that yes, tiny?
Yeah.
Like you can
Yes.
barely see it. Isn't that supposed to be like one of the issues that like roads,
Right.
like keeping places safe, not getting invaded by foreign powers? Like
Right.
that's to me what the state should be doing. Like not having people.
Right.
Like
It's
you're not
interesting that
helping
Rhodes is in
anyone.
there, but
yeah, I know. Like you're saying that to the wrong guy.
You don't think the state should get
Absolutely
Privatize
not.
the roads.
Privatize the roads?
And the
Oh,
schools
yeah.
while you're at
Yes,
it.
yes,
Okay,
yes.
schools are different from
Yeah,
roads.
the roads, definitely the roads.
Okay,
100%
fine,
the
not-
No,
roads.
but so how long
But
can the state?
I'm a little bit with you on the foreign power. Like, I understand the rationale for saying, so it's the dibs thing we talk about. Say, we have dibs on this land, and so we're going to put a fence around it, and anybody who crosses it, we're just going to kill you, or something like that. Because we have claimed some kind of strange authority over it, therefore we have dibs over what happens in this. And then we can create our, like, minarchist, voluntary taxation or whatever system.
But like this state
But in order,
is so expensive, right?
Yes.
Like we're talking California here.
Yes,
It is the highest state income tax, plus you have the federal tax.
yes.
It's extremely expensive to live here, and people spend a lot of money to live here, and there's clearly a problem.
And that,
And so who is supposed to handle that issue? Like,
who is supposed
like,
to?
like, like, like,
that
who
is
supposed to
that
handle-
is that is like the illusion of the state. Who is supposed to? We as a society, quote, are supposed to by giving the state all of our resources.
and they're not doing anything.
Of
about
course
it.
not.
So who's
who is
to do
supposed
it?
to? I mean, the only way a minarchist or an anarchist society works is through cooperation. Cooperation is the key, and so we have to help each other. That is the only way a minarchist society would even work.
Like, I understand that if it's, someone fell on tough times and the community comes together to pay for their rent or to help with food. Like, that's why churches have, where I work, we deal, like, sometimes, like, churches deal with, what's the word I'm looking for? Not soup kitchen, but food drives and helping with rent. Like, that's a little different. That is not that problem. That takes professional medical help.
Right, but I think
that has been offloaded onto everyone
I think
else.
Professional medical help is a narrative, is a statist narrative.
I agree with that.
How?
I think that we have more power than we think we do, and what is the state doing but connecting them to that professional medical help? Is there someone else who could connect them, or do they? I mean,
No,
they
the
need to be
state's not connecting them to professional medical.
No. In the world where they do, in a world where they do, what are they actually applying the help, or are they connecting them to an expert?
Well, what the state has done is they've removed any consequences for anything, whether it's camping or open air drug use or shitting on the street or literally rape and murder.
It's true, but those the designation of professional is defined by the state.
Okay. Yes, I see what you're saying, but we're not starting from scratch here. The state exists.
Yes,
and if they're going to, it very much does here. And if it
does,
they should be doing something. And if they don't, that's fine. But the reality is they do. They should be doing more than what they do, which is nothing.
No, I agree. But you shouldn't have to look both ways when you cross the street.
I just close my eyes when I cross the street. We're getting very. I see. We're getting very politically philosophical here.
Right, yeah.
And
I feel like I'm in some kind of...
So how did you learn to play the banjo?
Oh no, I'm being an asshole.
Who needs a beer?
I am. No. I see what you're saying, and I respect it. I do. My thing is you're gonna pay this fucking... I don't even live here. You're gonna pay this... If you're
I absolutely agree with you. The people of California are being ripped off.
Yes.
Beyond belief.
What are you doing?
I'm leaving.
Bars.
Oh, you're leaving?
So
actually?
I'm moving to
Right. This is not the only place with cool bars.
Okay.
You got the beach, though. Don't say Texas beaches are better than California.
I do. Why would I say that?
Okay, just making sure.
I did want to talk about California for a couple minutes.
You just did.
How much it fucking sucks. No, I'm kidding. No, it is a shame because growing up, I wanted to get this on the record. Growing up, to me, the idea of Southern Cal, and I think that Southern California plays a huge part in the American imagination, whether you're from New Jersey, where I'm from, or Missouri, or Northern California, or whatever it is. As a huge part in our pop culture. Plus, there's just something about it. Southern California, New York, they do hold a different sway over the American mind. Yeah. And so part of what I'm saying comes from a place of I'm upset about it. I think it sucks because it is a special place.
It's magic.
It is. It's magical. Even coming in, I'm pulling onto my Uber is I'm in the backseat, but we're pulling onto whatever that freeway, as you call it here, is, and there's the mountains and the palm trees and the red sky. I know it's pollution, but it looks pretty. And it's this is, and you have the downtown skyline, and it's 80 degrees, and it's November, and it's 300 plus days of sun a year. That's special. That's beautiful. And it does suck to see it go this way. Now, this is my first day here, literally. So everything I'm getting is from, but what I'm getting is from not just the internet, but from people who did either grow up here, literally spent their life here, or lived here for a while and left. And I do think that sucks, and I would like to see it come back in a sense. It doesn't mean it's going to be perfect. Nowhere is perfect. Everywhere has their issues. But I do think it's a shame to see it go down this route because, at least for me, I grew up, I wanted to be Auto Rocket. I wanted to live at the beach. I wanted to skateboard. I wanted to surf. I've done neither of those things in my entire life. That's what I wanted to do. I love that idea of my dad owning a hamburger place on the boardwalk and surfing every day. Like it is this very American thing. A lot of culture comes from here.
Yep.
So that, like, a lot of it comes from a place of frustration.
Yes.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I think there's a beauty, though, as people leave. It's going to decentralize the industries that have made this place beautiful.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, like, Southern California is special, just geographically, topographically, it's so special.
Yeah.
But the magic of it, like the cultural magic, can be taken other places.
Sure. So here's the thing. Like, if it was just homelessness or crime...
I don't know, because I think a lot of the magic is tied to, like, very specific places.
Yes.
Here in LA, that... And it's not to say that other places can't be magical, but I think because there's, you know...
Yeah.
The entertainment industry has been here for a century, whereas other places, like, you know, Atlanta, Georgia is a big film town, but like it's
everything
like,
has an expiration date. So like it's
Black
almost more
Mecca,
romantic that it would die.
What was that?
You know.
Black Mecca.
Yeah, but I'm a Saints fan and a Mets fan, so I hate it.
Nice.
I don't know if you could say this is like any holier ground than any other location, though.
Right.
I think it's the collection of the shared historical events of like cinema.
Sure.
that
Yeah.
over here, right?
Yeah.
It's cool.
The climate, and then I think there's also something to say with probability when you have not 1 million people, but several million, and then tens of million. Like if you just get a bunch of people living in one spot, like that's gonna
Someone's gonna do something cool.
Somebody's
Right.
gonna come.
Yeah, cities
somebody's
are cool.
gonna
They're
root.
hive minds.
So if somebody's like, there are 10 million people like in like the Midwest, like some small town that blew up into some big thing. It's like every little creek is going to have some kind of big historical importance to it, but it's just like, but LA just happened to be the place for that.
I think, Alma, what you were saying is, if it was just like homelessness and crime, like that can be fixed. That's been fixed in a lot of places. My issue more is like the COVID shit.
Yeah.
Like that, like I would watch, like, I'm a big Anthony Bourdain fan, rest in peace. Like, I would watch the episodes.
Yep.
Like, half the restaurants I looked up
Yeah.
are closed
That's
because of
true.
COVID. Like, a Korean restaurant that was open for 41 years
Holy cow.
They're destroying.
was closed over COVID. Like, it
They're
society.
destroying
41
everything beautiful
fucking
about
years.
our society.
Like,
That's
that's
a loss of culture for sure.
That's horrible.
Yeah,
Like, Tim, and
that's
that's
bad.
avoidable.
It's
You know what
totally
you do?
needless.
You just don't fucking shut down everything. Like,
Yeah.
you adapt some. Okay, maybe you space out some tables or have a mat. But like, these places couldn't survive. And meanwhile, and obviously, and the next part is the hypocrisy of it, where it's like, well, everyone gets carve-outs who's rich and who can deliver and all this stuff, but the places that really establish neighborhoods are gone, and that is horrible.
It's the puritanical
and
thing.
that can be avoided. That's a
Yeah.
swipe of a pen.
Yep.
Like Eric Adams in New York could come in and change shit. That's why it's the fucking mayors and the governors and the stuff that just are, and they don't give a shit because you know what? Fuck.
Well,
They're
there's-
always fucking black on names. Who's the governor? Newsom.
Yeah.
He can go to the French Laundry and dine inside without a mask and do whatever because it doesn't matter because he's rich. And he can do whatever. His local Korean restaurant didn't close down because he doesn't have a local Korean restaurant.
Right.
So, but the generations who own that place and who went to that place, who established, an immigrant population for generations is gone.
Yep.
And I think that's a sin. Like, I do think that's horrible because that shit doesn't come back. It's going to turn into a Chipotle.
Yep.
Or
But
something.
there are consequences for it. I mean, you're not the only person to notice this.
Of course.
And
Yeah.
things are a pendulum, and not to be sanguine about it, because it is a tragedy, and I'm very sad about it. Like, I kind of hate to leave a place that's so rich in culture and beauty and everything. But things come and things go, and Newsom does what he's going to do, and people react to it. And I'm very happy with the reaction so far. I mean, what did we lose a House of Representatives seat because of the Exodus being what it is? That's no joke.
Electoral College.
But I
Two.
think
Two, I think, right?
there's a big problem, and what you were saying is getting at that a little bit about these swipes of a pen changing everything, because there is monarchistic dictate happening,
Yes.
hiding behind democracy, which
Yeah.
is actually the
Well, that's what we were
worst.
talking about
It's the
before
worst
we started
possible way of
recording.
doing it.
I agree with
because
that.
because a king, at least in a true monarchy, a king actually does have the liability of the society on his head. So the king is the societal
You
scapegoat.
could also cut a king's head off sometimes.
Exactly,
That did happen.
exactly. But you can't cut off Gavin Newsom's head
Well,
because
like
Gavin
someone
Newsom.
Also, should we get the...
No, because
Ladies.
Gavin Newsom,
Cheers.
he's protected by democracy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so if you have king protected by democracy, that is the worst possible situation you can have.
Well, I think what COVID exposed, and this isn't like a fresh take, like this has been said, but what COVID exposes, a lot of these people who tons of people didn't give a shit who the mayor was or who the governor was even. It was like, you vote for the president and that's it. Like, people would just vote down ballot, whatever they vote for the president for. Yeah. And they realized, like, oh my God, these people actually have a lot of power in quote-unquote emergencies. There very much was an emergency at one point in this country, I believe, during, like, early COVID. I know, I saw you, yes, but now it's not. Like, those emergency powers should be gone, and the power never voluntarily gets rolled back. And this used to be an argument that I get in with right-wingers during the Patriot Act and all that shit. It was like, look what you fucking did, and now it's being used against you.
There's nothing so nothing so permanent as a temporary government program.
Yes, exactly. It's like, well, you know, the Patriot Act and all of these, you know, war on terror powers that have just not only increased, but now they're being turned against you because you're showing up to school board meetings.
Yep. Well, you should have thought of that before you became a terrorist.
Exactly. Well, that's what I've tweeted. I'm like, the U.S. government will drone strike a family in Kabul and then turn around and call you a terrorist. Yep. It's like, it's fucking can't win.
Yep.
Yeah. No, that's not my room.
Yeah. I kind of take a piss too, though.
Yeah, no.
All right, we'll cut this. I'm kidding. I always say, like, oh, all right, we'll cut this. We never cut anything.
I hope I wasn't being too aggressive.
No, we get very aggressive on the show. I yell. You've watched the show. I start yelling a lot. And well, Brother Nate, what do you think about it? Because you're the only one actually from Southern California here, right? Like, in this group. Joe's from Northern California. But do you have a different opinion on what we're saying, or...?
I think that when you try to cultivate society, it requires continuous cultivation.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, puppies! Hello, puppies!
So if whether it's an individual or an institution, like a police force or a government or a city body, whoever it is, as soon as the individual doesn't maintain themselves and it's another outside source, I'm not giving value to either system, right? I'm saying whoever decides to cultivate for a certain result, it requires continuous cultivation. And if your cultivation falls down at any step of the way, then you're going to have a bunch of weeds in your garden, right? And now what we're dealing with is like a situation where I feel like we've tried to cultivate and say we have social programs, we have economic programs, but people still have moral corruption, right? So it doesn't matter, man. It doesn't matter what we do. I'm pretty dark about it.
Yeah, so, I mean, then my answer to my next question is there coming back from this?
What is this?
Well,
I mean, because the reality is, like, we're still, like, sitting here, like...
You're right,
like,
yes.
Like,
and it's all relative.
Some alcohol, enjoying some snacks.
You're right. It's all relative. We're not being invaded. Like, yes, we're not.
And that's not to say that won't happen later, right? But I mean, like, it is all like, I don't know, man. It's all a gas, dude.
But the fact of the matter, like, correct me if I'm wrong, is it's very expensive to live anywhere in California, let alone Southern California.
Yeah, sure.
We pay a lot in taxes here,
yeah.
And I come from one of the most taxed states. We have very property taxes.
Is it more here than there?
Well, they're different. Here's super high income tax.
I think you have higher property tax.
We have the highest in the country.
Yeah.
Which I'm actually, as far as taxes go, I think property tax are one of the better ones. That's just my opinion. But, you know, taxes suck in general. But I would rather have high property tax than income tax. Just cost of living is super high. Mm-hmm. The home prices are absolutely insane here.
It is. It's not reasonable.
Plus, it's, you know, it used to be, well, you have high taxes, but it's beautiful. The weather's great. There's a lot of stuff to do. There's lots of restaurants, and a lot of that is gone because of COVID. I would say more because of government than COVID, but under the guise of COVID. So when I say coming back, like as Alma said, there has been an exodus leaving. That doesn't mean there isn't some people filling in, and there is that whole, like, you know, when New York was going through this, it was, well, the artists will come back. It'll be lower rents and stuff. And I get that, but I don't know if that's going to be the same thing in LA, because LA is so, or Southern California is so expensive. Yeah. So when I say, like, will it come back, will it become the destination? For instance, growing up, I used to watch tons of, like, stand-up comedy and stuff. And every single stand-up I remember seeing would be, I moved to LA. I moved to LA last month. I moved to LA last, and, like, I don't think that's going to be the case anymore. It used to be you came to LA to make it.
But that's fine.
So
I think it's fine too.
So that's okay. Like,
We can be melancholy about it, but like we can be melancholy about not being 21
Because
anymore.
Pittsburgh also used to be a huge destination.
Too. Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, people would move to Pittsburgh
For
for
what?
work.
That's true. Well, yeah, back in like the
When
factory
it was like
days.
steel?
Yeah,
Yep.
steel. Yes,
Huh.
steel. Just like Detroit was for car. Like
Exactly.
Detroit used to be one of the most. Right. So,
Now,
but
that was
you don't
that's
want to
another
be.
situation.
But you don't want to be Detroit. Detroit is coming back somewhat after 50 years, but that's not really a good. You don't want to compare yourself to Detroit.
Well, because the government killed it.
Killed what?
Detroit.
Right. So that's what I'm saying, and
Yeah.
that's I
Dropped
think
the
an
bomb on
equivalent
it.
here.
Well, that was Philadelphia.
Oh,
That was Philadelphia. The fucking yes, the government. If you didn't know, the government bombed Philadelphia. It's fucking crazy. That's
When was
for a
this?
different episode. Like the 80s, I think.
80. Oh,
You're sounding like, are you
89,
gonna mention the
88,
Rothschilds
89?
next? Cause
No, they bombed them because they were black.
Okay.
Well,
This
they
just
were
sounds
they
like
were
a
actually like a
conspiracy
separatist
theory.
movement.
No, it was not.
They were a
conspiracy.
separatist movement.
They very much bombed
Yeah.
civilians. The
That
government
is
bombed
awful.
civilians in Philadelphia.
They also
Not
burned
bombed, just
civilians in Waco.
Yes, this is what we're
No,
talking about
this
the U.S.
80s
We're
thing
talking
I
about the
had
U.S.
no clue
government
about.
here, Alma.
Right,
No,
Billy,
you're
They
right.
do. They do awful things,
You're not
and
wrong.
then they say, "Well,
And-
look at the Soviets."
And the news media just goes, "Yes, sir," and they just
Don't
report
even
on
get
it.
me started on Waco. That's not for this. That's not for
So
this.
Anthony, how did you learn how to play banjo?
Oh, I'm gonna run
That is a
Yeah.
stupid story compared to what we're talking.
Don't even get me going on Waco.
I guess we are talking about arts and culture because LA is
No.
arts hub. No. Ben is very passionate about a city that he's never been to until
I
today.
know, yeah. I think for me, because I grew up in California, I think I had kind of an unhealthy fascination with California. And like, I'm not blaming anyone at all for moving. Like, I get it. Like, there are much better places where you can get a lot of the same cultural benefits, but for like a third the cost. But I think just for me, I think there's a part of me that favors tradition. So it's just sort of like, no, like Hollywood's that's the only place where you can make
Yeah.
it, and I'm just gonna I'm gonna stay and fight. I'm gonna stay and I'm gonna be like the string quartet on the sinking Titanic
Yep.
sort of thing.
And that has a beauty too.
Yeah, well, and maybe it's sort of like when this is less straight up political and more cultural, but when I started the Reckless Muse, the publication on Medium, and I was a lot of the articles I do are criticizing a lot of this woke cancel culture. Let's make everything about identity sort of thing. And part of the reason why I do that is to help kind of encourage other artists and other creative people to kind of like, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna say what I want to say and not worry about offending people.
Yep.
And part of the reason why I do that is so like if I get into the industry, it's sort of like, okay, like I'm not saying like I'm trying to be a trailblazer, but it's like I don't want to have to deal with somebody coming up to me and saying, hey, can your movie be more diverse?
Yep.
I'm trying to like make the industry, hopefully encourage more people to like question the industry, that the direction that's going in.
Yeah, just assert.
Right,
That's
exactly.
what I do.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, but getting back to the California thing.
I want to hear more about. You said that's what you do, and I want to know what that means. But please continue.
Yeah, actually, you take it. That's what you do. What do you mean by that?
Well, I was sort of trying to confirm what you were
Yeah.
saying. I was basically just
Oh.
confirming what you were saying, but it is related to an idea that I have about asserting your natural rights.
Right.
Is the most important thing you can do.
Yeah.
Natural rights?
Yeah. Yeah, we can do it.
What are natural rights?
God given. Natural rights are rights that exist in you that literally cannot be taken away. As in, you have your thoughts, and those thoughts literally cannot be taken away unless you're killed. And by extension, you have your speech, which cannot be taken away. You have your labor. We've talked about this. Nobody can actually steal your labor. Like if somebody is moving your arm for you to dig a trench, they're doing labor.
Yeah.
So
They can compel you, though.
yes, you can be coerced.
And you can decide that trade-off is.
Right, you can be coerced, you can be intimidated into slavery, you can be, all of these things can happen, but the best thing you can do is to assert your natural rights. So to assert your speech, to assert your thoughts, and then the second thing is to defend these thoughts. And it's like the First Amendment, Second Amendment. Have weaponry, have guns, things like that. These are the most important things you can do.
So that's what you're trying to. Oh my god, I haven't had Doritos in like probably 7 years, and I'm just
What?
like,
Oh, they're
smashing.
amazing.
So are you
amazing.
like, if I say anything smart, it's the Doritos talking?
We were talking about when we were picking them up. Spicy nacho is probably my favorite. I don't know where.
I don't even have a
That's Cool
favorite
Ranch.
flavor of burritos because I haven't
Well,
had them
that's
in a
one of the
decade.
OGs. Yeah.
But this was incredible.
Yeah, they're so good.
Yeah, they're like
I don't
crazy.
like the way they
Let 'em try it.
smell when other people are eating them, so
Yeah.
I've never really indulged.
Yeah.
But
Well, that's what we
now
do
that I've
here
done
on
it, I'm
the
like,
TRM podcast.
Yeah.
We're here
Yeah.
to please.
And I've spoiled the brand.
We're all about
Lack of
vices
brand
here on
that I
TRM.
was
Oh yeah.
That's great.
We're a Vice
Love
cast.
it.
So you were saying that that's an attitude that you want to spur on in artists.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason why I mean, I always wanted to move to LA since I was like 15. Like when I first got into like heavy metal guitar and everything, I was like, oh, I'm gonna go to LA and live on Sunset Strip, start a heavy
Fuck
metal
yeah.
band.
With
But,
my 20 guitars
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
I have in
exactly.
my garage.
so half of my dreams is I can just check that off the list. No, but
You've done it, and you do have 20 guitars.
oh yeah, we call it the bloodshed because we
Fucking
have
love
this
it.
little jam room in there.
Wow.
Yeah, we painted it red specifically for
I
that.
wish I could pan the camera to see this.
No,
We could just be making this up for all they know.
nah, this is like a sitcom camera, so it's just one side, the rest is all scaffolding and people. No, but anyway, yeah, no, but in recent years, I was kind of like when I started seeing a lot of this woke stuff taking hold of the entertainment industry. Like I knew that LA was kind of the epicenter of that, but I was like, yeah, all right, it's a good challenge for me. So I'm gonna go right to the belly of the beast. So I think that's kind of what motivates me to kind of do.
So you're a revolutionary.
Well, I mean, I'm no,
Regular
my mom
Fred
follows me
Hampton.
on Medium, so.
Well, that's nice.
But I mean, you know, like it is sort of like, you know, I've heard of some groups who are kind of like tangential to the entertainment industries. Yeah, we're like the Republican, you know, group of entertainment. You know, like people like sound and cinematographers and things like that. Which I think it's fine.
Yeah.
I'm glad that there are people who are finding like ways to kind of find others to like kind of counter a lot of this woke stuff. I wouldn't base it. If I were to start any kind of collective, it would not be political. It would be apolitical. It'd be like,
Right.
I don't care if you lean very far to the left or very far to the right or very libertarian or very authoritarian. All I'm saying is, as long as you're comfortable with other views, that's kind of would be my own baseline.
Yep.
But even that feels restricted to me. Even that feels like once we get enough people, then that starts kind of turning into a purity test at some point. But I don't know. Hopefully, you know, if I'm here and I'm kind of fighting a lot of this stuff, that that can kind of encourage other people to kind of stand up.
Totally. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're in LA doing this.
Oh, thank you.
You're talking about like the purity test on the other side of the pendulum reminds me a lot of the anti-woke stuff on Twitter right now,
Yeah.
which is so freaking annoying.
I know, it's getting obnoxious.
Oh
I
my god,
feel,
it's so obnoxious.
Yeah.
Shoot me now. You become
Yeah.
exactly like what you hate.
I know, yeah.
I feel like
I don't
there's
know what the check is against that, but
I know.
Yeah. I think there's a question because if you believe you're in a war, then the goal is to win, not to be ideologically pure.
Yeah.
If you're a soldier.
Right.
If you believe that things are annoying, but they can get better as long as we're all cool.
Yeah.
I think you're in a different spot.
So how do you build that into a company or a collective or an organization or a band or anything?
Yeah, it's weird because it's almost inherently paradoxical because it's sort of like we're a group of individuals. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yep.
So I don't know if it's just sort of like freedom of thought is kind of like the baseline, but as long as you adhere to that, then I don't care what you do.
That's kind of what the intellectual dark web started as.
Yeah, I know.
And
then
look
now
at what
they're
happened. It
I
took
know.
like all of 3 years for it to become an obnoxious like
I know.
jerk
Very
off
annoying.
fest.
Wait,
I know.
so what do you think about Austin University?
Oh yeah,
We talked about
It's
that
like-
one too.
yeah. This is interesting.
What's that? What's this?
So
So-
Barry Weiss co-founded this thing with
Oh,
a
no.
few other people.
I love Barry, but like, what did you? Why
so
did we
it's
need
like
that thing
it's
founded?
a college,
Yep.
and
But
it's
they're
not accredited or anything.
But they shouldn't.
They
They're shooting themselves in the foot by trying to get it accredited because then it's just going to be.
I don't
any
understand
other
what they're
university.
doing. In my opinion, they should just. First of all, the college system is compromised. Like,
Yes.
like it's gonna
And it's not
be,
just because of wokeness. There's a whole bunch of
Right.
other
No,
things.
there's a lot of other reasons. So instead of going down that route, just get out. I'm all for getting all these people together, right?
Yep.
That's cool. They come from different backgrounds and have
Yep.
different opinions on things. Just like make fucking YouTube videos or make
Right.
channels and
You
put
like
your
PragerU though.
like. Well, but no, it won't be because PragerU also has a like a political bent. Like these
Yeah.
people,
Yeah, I
they
think
come
that's
from
right.
the right wing, the left wing. Like Barry's a liberal. She's like
Yeah.
she works for the New York Times. She just happens to be very pro-Israel, so that's why they like were shitty to her.
Just
Like
happened- by accident.
It just happened. She stumbled upon it. Yeah, it just happened to be. You know, but like they could basically starting a university doesn't seem like a smart move here.
Yeah.
No,
Like,
as soon as you
What about
institutionalize
Renegade
anything.
University or
What's
Liberty
that?
Classroom?
Or
What's
what is the
Renegade?
one? The
Do you know what that is?
Marginal Revolution University.
I don't know.
That's
what that is.
that's not a university. I think MRU is a YouTube channel, which is something you
Just like make you, but not just YouTube. You know, put out. Well, I mean, they're already doing some, but I get the centralization part. I think that's what it is. They're like trying to centralize this movement, which is fine, but the university system is not the way to do
Right.
this.
Oh my god,
But-
can you imagine walking around on that campus? Like
I know,
how
yeah.
those students must be so.
I'm a free
arrogant and,
thinker.
Like, yeah, I'm a free thinker, guys.
Yeah.
I'm heterodox.
It's gonna create its own like obnoxious
be so
class,
annoying.
but
No,
You're the
I
ninth
agree.
person who said it
Well,
to me in the
I
last
think
4 minutes.
There's a whole group of people who have a deep love for research and academics.
yeah.
And like I consider myself basically an academic, or used
Yeah.
to be, or something like that. I think that's how I approach a lot of things.
Okay.
And so I think that there is it's a little bit like what you're talking about, how sort of sad or disappointing it is to see the death of these cultural icons like Los Angeles, or go back to Detroit. There's a lot of people who got a lot from academia, and I think that they no longer are welcome in that space, but they want to hold on to what is special about that particular space for them.
Yeah, I guess.
Is there an argument
I just-
for it?
Well, I don't know if it's an argument.
Just like-
No, it's just contextualizing it. It's just like
Yeah.
kind of explaining
Yeah.
it. I just think at this point, there's enough of a market out there, like a philosophical market. Like
Yeah.
some people buy into the crazy progressive woke crap on campuses, and that's always gonna. It's been going on. William F. Buckley. I was listening to a podcast today. I forgot which one. Like William F. Buckley was bitching about this in the 50s. Like it was already happening. That's all relative. What he was bitching about probably today would be like, oh, it's not a big deal, whatever. But you know, just that's always going to happen. But there's enough people who are open to other ideas where if you just put the content out there, put the arguments, put the perspectives out there, like they will gravitate towards it. And the way to do that isn't by creating this university. It's not even a credit. It seems like a waste of time. Like you could be
I think you're
putting
right.
your work towards other shit. Like these are some of the most people like Jordan Peterson and Barry Weiss, and like they're really popular.
Yes.
Like they have audiences and they can only grow.
But they buy into the authenticity that is granted by these institutions, and so they want the authenticity granted by. Some
But is
university.
Austin University ever going to be Harvard or Stanford?
Well, I think they want it to be.
Is
it's
Jordan
not.
Peterson part of?
No,
this?
he's not.
I've never
He's
heard
not
of
part
him.
of it.
No, he's not.
Oh, okay. I think
So it's
he's
Barry
not.
Weiss and a couple other people.
It's a
right?
bunch of people.
Glenn
Not,
Lowry's
oh,
in
maybe I was
it.
thinking Niall
Oh,
Ferguson.
Glenn's in it. My heart softens toward it a little
Glenn
bit.
Lowry's in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Lex
Oh, he's cool.
Friedman's
Lex
part of it.
Niall
Interesting.
Ferguson.
Yep.
I love Lex. I don't know. I feel like they could do other shit. Like yeah, they have their podcasts, which is great. Like podcasts are huge, and it's to me, thank God for podcasts. I don't know, say thanks for
Oh, yeah.
podcasters, but I think that you just like keep it, and if YouTube kicks you off, then go on Rumble, go on whatever, like go on the other thing, and just
Odyssey.
Yes,
I don't know.
Odyssey. Yes,
What's
yes,
Odyssey?
Yes,
No, that's the other platform we got to get on. It's the other
I
it's
don't-
a blockchain.
Oh no.
Blockchain.
It's a blockchain-based
Oh, no.
YouTube alternative. So
Okay.
actually, everything you put on Odyssey will never go away.
Oh,
Are you serious?
we gotta
So
do
you
that.
can
Horrifying.
you cannot be banned. Like they literally do not have the ability to ban you.
Oh,
Can
I
you
like
take it
this.
down yourself?
Okay.
Yes, but it will be on the blockchain forever.
Ah,
Cool.
I don't like
Nice,
that.
Yeah, you have to. You're staring right
I
into
don't
the
know.
sun.
Maybe that's
No.
too. Maybe
Not
I'm with
a
Alma
fan.
on this. You can't even. I would like to take it down. I just want
But
them to
that-
take it
you
Can
down.
you
can't-
imagine if your MySpace from middle school was
I
like
thought you were
still-
Catholic. Just think of the blockchain as Judgment Day.
I'm not Catholic. I'm not Catholic. I'm not Catholic. I have very complicated thoughts on Judgment Day. But good analogy.
I'm Catholic in the form of like when it's convenient. I'm Catholic. Like
all
when-
those stuff.
pretty
Like I
good.
went through the steps.
Yep.
I'm comfortable going to Catholic. Yeah, I'm comfortable going to the Catholic Church. All 12 of them. But
So
like,
you got the opt out for the drug.
yeah, but when it's like,
I
hey, you
got
can't eat meat on Fridays, I'm like, fuck you. Eat meat. Like, but I don't care about that
I'm
stuff.
going to the deli.
Yeah,
But a lot of these
I'm Catholic with the pulverizing guilt. That's where I'm
Oh my God.
Catholic.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, what better to guilt you than a forever blockchain
Oh,
that
yeah.
keeps your content up for life?
But you can get crypto, so they have their own. Economy.
Shoot me now.
That's
Right. So
How have you not invested in crypto?
I'm not. I didn't say I didn't have some. It was given.
you just don't want. You're like,
No, no,
blah, blah,
no,
blah, I
no.
don't want to know about it.
I've never bought some.
Okay.
I played the Mises University.
Oh,
the
did
music,
you?
music at Mises University.
Wait, where's Mises University?
Oh, it's a
Alabama?
week. So the Mises Institute is in Alabama.
Okay. Is
They have
it?
this week of educational
Alabama?
classes. Yeah, in Auburn.
Oh, I don't really
It's
think
a
of
really cool town.
Alabama as libertarian.
And guess what they paid me in, or what
Bitcoin?
What people tipped me.
Ethereum.
Yeah, and now it's
Hey,
worth
I
like,
would take it. I just
it's
bought
worth
some
like
Ethereum.
20 times as much as
Yeah.
it was back then.
I just bought it. I bought Ethereum. I was learning though. I didn't know that there were like major differences between some of them.
Yeah.
It's all imaginary. I don't know what anyone.
Yes,
is
so is the
thinking
U.S.
about
economy.
It
like,
is.
It's everything's imaginary.
It is, but the more like I just why are we
The
having
stock
more
market
imaginary?
is a
It's so
representation
imaginary.
of rich people's feelings.
It doesn't make any
Yeah, I
sense.
buy into it.
Stock market makes no sense.
Yes, exactly.
So, taking back off to a university thing.
Yep.
Friend and I, we were joking.
The audio of this is just gonna be crunch, crunch, crunch. 90% of it's gonna be
Can
me
you
eating
swallow first?
Here. Have some
Okay.
more. Keep going.
Piggybacking off the university thing.
Yeah.
My friend and I, we were kind of joking, but kind of serious about this. Of like, okay, instead of doing the university thing, we're like, oh, that's where we'll go for all of our solutions for society's problems. It's like you get the best and the brightest people, but they can either be academics or they can be renegades. Like they could have Elon Musk, somebody who dropped out of college or something.
Yep.
And you rent out a piece of land or like a resort or something like that, and you just I'm going to invite like 50 of the greatest minds.
Yep.
And I'm not going to force you guys to take drugs, but they will be available.
Yep.
And a bunch of whiteboards and a bunch of paper and pencils.
Great.
I'll lock you guys
Love
in
it.
there for 3
Yeah.
weeks, a month, whatever. Fix every problem. Like go create not every problem, but like okay, fine, like solve world hunger. I'm get like
Solve one.
solve hunger, solve space travel, solve everything, And it's like there's no bureaucracy to deal with.
Yeah.
If you need drugs, they're there for you. If you need to do it sober, go for it. But just this idea of like forget the credentials.
Yep.
Just go right into pure ideas.
Yes.
And we didn't come up with what the next step would be, but like it was sort of like that idea of like, no, let's just get a bunch of renegades together.
Well, have you heard of Renegade University?
Oh, let's sue them.
I didn't.
Do you know Thaddeus Russell?
Yeah.
Okay. So
What is that? I know who that is, but what's the Renegade University?
Okay, so he has this whole renegade theory. This is like how he conceptualizes history. So he has this renegade history of the United States, which is that the primary movers of culture are not generals and presidents and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
Everybody who's in the history books, the primary movers of culture are renegades.
Yeah.
Slaves, prostitutes, criminals,
Yeah.
people like this. So because there's way more of them and they're moving society way, way, way more. And so he likes people who specifically exit the structures of society.
Yeah, the institutions and everything.
Exactly. So something like a prostitute, they're saying, I don't care that you have these laws and these tax whatevers. I'm doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
That's a renegade. Somebody
right.
marching in the street is not a renegade.
Yeah.
Activists are not renegades.
Right.
So he has his whole thing called Renegade University because he was a history professor. He got ousted, fired, whatever. And so he does this. So he does these Renegade University meetups where he brings together people like, who did he have? Like Hotep Jesus and the Perfume Nationalists and stuff like this. And they do talks with people and like anybody can come, you have to pay. But if you can come and talk to them and discuss ideas together and all hang out and drink and party and have
Do they
intellectual
fix
conversation.
anything?
No, probably not.
But
But I don't think he wants to fix anything because I think the renegade idea is that there is nothing to fix.
It's like emergent.
You can just live in this other world.
Right.
Okay.
Like he's not trying to fix
Right.
Congress. He doesn't give a shit about Congress.
Right.
So is there a bad state of the world then?
What do you mean?
There's no pretense of what it should or shouldn't be.
Yeah, kind of. Well, because he's a major.
You're just
He's a major.
interpreting your own
No, but
reality.
he's a very he's a major postmodernist.
Yeah.
So for him,
Interesting.
it's all narrative. So
Can
this
you
is where
define
like
postmodernist.
yes. So coming out of Foucault, I actually love postmodernism. And I argue with people on Discord. About
You
this
like
all the
postmodernism?
time.
Can you say it
I
in lay
fucking
terms
love
though?
it.
Say it in lay terms.
Yes, yeah, I'm going to try. So postmodernism is an attempt to question every assumption that we hold and illustrate that every assumption and belief we hold is at its root a narrative.
Mm.
Oh, okay.
So postmodernism and critical theory are not the same thing.
Yeah. I thought critical theory is more of like a
It's a
like a
conceptualization.
child of postmodernism. But you can't have
No, postmodernism actually comes after.
Cutting you
critical
off after this.
Please do.
wasn't postmodernism like Foucault?
theory. Yes.
When's critical theory?
Like the
80s.
No, like the 1920s.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, postmodernism was?
No,
or-
critical theory.
Critical theory was from the 20s?
Marcuse. Yeah, it was the
Okay.
Frankfurt School. People escaping.
interesting.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, people escaping
Right.
the rise of
You're right.
Nazism in Germany.
Sure, okay.
Huh.
So they came to Columbia.
Right.
Yeah.
Columbia University.
Yep.
Yes.
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 But yeah, Foucault was like the 50s and
60s,
60s in France. Kind of
Yeah.
a different thing. But then
Love little
postmodernism.
boys.
Oh yeah. Well, this is the other thing. Is
Love
he
little
absolutely
boys.
was a pedophile, and he absolutely
Art for the
used
artist, guys.
he absolutely used
I've
postmodern
read Crime
theory
and Punishment.
to
Or, excuse me,
question
Discipline and
our
Punishment.
beliefs about age of consent. He says this is
Well,
just
so
a narrative.
that's
So this
an
is true,
example,
he does
That's
do
an
this.
example of like people are always like, well, you know, we thought this of gay people back in the '90s, and look now, it's like, no, there is a way where left goes too far, and it was this. It was Simone de Beauvoir
Yep.
and Foucault
Yep.
and Sartre. I'm not saying his name right,
Yep.
but like they were very much for no, it's cool to fuck 14-year-olds.
Yes.
Like no, that went too far. That's not okay. And it's not always just like, well, in 10 years this will be fine. It's like, no, we went through this already. We've gone through this actually many times. This is just one of those examples.
Right, and what they would argue is that you have no basis for saying that it is or isn't okay. That's just a narrative that you hold.
Right. And my response would be, you're
Fuck you.
fucking 14. You're fucking
So,
a
but
14-year-old.
Thad subscribes to this.
Who?
Thaddeus
Yeah.
Russell.
Thaddeus Russell.
So he's called fucking 14-year-olds?
Yes.
I
he does it every day.
doubt it.
Once a day.
I don't know who this person is.
No,
Who
he-
is this person?
Thaddeus Russell, how do you just even
I feel like I've
describe
heard the
that? He's a
name,
big
but-
libertarian guy.
Oh.
I know Hotep Jesus.
Wait, is he not?
I know.
Well,
He's
so
not
he had an
yet.
interesting conversation recently about how he will not call himself libertarian, and he does not think that anybody should call themselves.
I don't call
libertarian.
myself liberal.
He says it.
Not even quote
I
unquote
don't-
small L libertarian.
No, he says
Small
it
L.
is politically and socially the worst decision you can possibly make.
That is full of provocative statements, though. So I'm like, yeah,
It's great.
yeah.
He says it immediately gives people a reason to stop listening to you.
He's not wrong, but
I feel
that
like you
applies
said
to
that
any
about anything. You
liberal.
said that about progressive. You said that
Yeah.
about
Yeah, I don't.
Republicans who
I
are
would say he
socialists.
probably doesn't think they should be doing that. Although they do have enough social cachet that they can be in a powerful group already.
So Thad
Socialists?
really likes liberty.
No, but progressives.
Progressives.
Thad loves liberty. He likes being left
Liberty's
alone
good.
and doing his own
Yeah.
thing.
Anyway, but he has the Renegade University idea.
So those are
Okay.
pickups.
So you're saying I should sue him then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
We'll
go
sue
for
him. I'll file a suit.
All right, thanks, man.
it.
So we only have about 20 more minutes left.
Cool.
Mm.
But,
It's limited?
That's what it is, sorry. But yeah, I mean, so let's keep talking for another 20 minutes.
How do we want to spend this last 20
I
minutes?
don't know.
guys? This is high stakes.
I'm really put on the spot here.
I got a question.
You'll have to leave in exactly 20 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, we can still hang out. He's got to wait for it. I got a question. Alma, what's the purpose of life?
Oh god,
I'm just kidding. No,
it's a tough one.
I want to talk to you guys about where you get your ideas for your music. I know a lot of relationship stuff, but is
You're
it
looking
just...
at me for this too?
Yeah.
Okay, because
Yeah,
you've been
you should
addressing
answer.
these guys.
Yeah.
Where do I get my ideas?
Yeah,
from?
ladies first.
What don't I get ideas for music from? I feel like you just have a lens when you're a songwriter. You just walk around viewing everything as a potential
Yeah.
song. Everything that hits
get
you
that.
a certain way is a potential song.
Right.
I mean, I write a lot of songs that are like rooted in places,
Mm.
like cities, specific cities, or
Yeah.
specific houses, or whatever, or specific relationships, as has been the case for my last several singles that I've released.
Do you like, for instance, from my writing, whether it's book or short story, like I have several on my notes app, for instance, just like book ideas, short story ideas, random shit, just like something that sounds good. I just like write it down. Do you do that for like lyrics?
So I have a lot of voice memos.
Okay,
That
voice
serve
memos.
that function,
yeah, it's kinda
but then
same
if
thing.
there's a specific like word thing that
Yeah.
comes to mind, then definitely I have it's so me. There's like a folder system where here are the things that are in progress or in the recycling bin that I could draw from if I needed to. Here's the songs that are finished and they move depending
Sure.
on where they're at in the process.
Oh.
And then if that's a seed for a song, and sometimes the seed takes, and sometimes the seed didn't take, and sometimes you tried really hard to make it take, and other times you didn't, and it worked out amazing, and it varies a lot. But I don't feel like there's the one thing about my songwriting that I tried to make it things that I would actually say, or like sentences that would stand their own. Like I really don't like generic music that could have come from anybody.
So
Not that I think I'm special.
do you write all
just-
your own music?
Yeah, 100%.
You don't have 20 writers writing "Shake It Off."
Only 19 writers.
Until
Yeah.
19 writers writing "Shake It Off."
I mean, usually those 19 writer songs are just like a producer who wanted to get publishing credits. It's not necessarily someone who helped write it,
Oh.
or they maybe added
See,
a
I
note.
don't know the ins and outs of the biz.
Yeah.
I know.
You guys, where do you get your ideas from?
LA River.
River.
Yeah, right.
Did you write LA River?
I did.
Okay. Yeah, it's a good one.
Is it?
Yeah.
I am trying to get that out of our set as fast as
Really, I like that trilogy a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
they have these like
whoa.
trilogies for the camera.
What the hell?
They have these
I'm like
three-
the whole time I'm like we're losing the audience.
Which one's that? Have I heard it? Have you guys played in front of me?
Yep.
I think they played
Twice.
it.
Oh.
I had to take a phone call during like a quarter of that set because my friend's wife thought that
Oh, that's right.
that he was like in love with me or cheating
Oh,
on
no.
her with me or something.
Yeah.
And so I was like, let me take 30 minutes to talk this
No.
poor woman down.
No.
But I
I remember
missed a
that.
lot of your music
Home
because of
wrecker.
that. Yeah, it was really sad actually.
So that's where
I
you get
don't
your
wanna
ideas
laugh at
from? Home wrecking?
From Alma.
Yes.
From
Yes.
From Alma. Alma's drama?
What
I just
can I
what did
say?
Alma write on Twitter today? Oh, no.
it. Yeah. It was,
The
Well, I was talking about on the
I'm a
phone.
big fan of the. I've noticed that there's been kind of a. Brother Nate, are you on Twitter? Do we? No.
he is way
That
too
does not
good for
surprise
that.
me.
He's
by the
way
way.
too good for that
Yeah.
stuff.
He doesn't have
But-
anything.
I don't want him to have anything.
I
Stay
respect
pure.
that so much, and I envy that. But there's kind of like a little community growing on Twitter of like, a little group
Oh.
that I like. You could say it's our little
Are you saying
intellectual,
the
incestuous
four of
dark
us?
web.
It's
Yeah.
actually-
No, there's a bunch. I feel like there's a group. I
Oh.
usually just shit talk you.
Yeah.
I usually just
Yeah.
say something like, because you're very wholesome on
I'm pretty
Twitter.
wholesome.
It's not the place for that.
Yeah.
That's not the venue for wholesomeness.
It's been working out very well.
Twitter,
for me so far.
Twitter is
Fabuloso.
the Thunderdome.
Mm.
At least the Twitter I
It's
live
your
in.
Thunderdome.
It is. The
It's
Twitter,
my-
the
it's
Twitter
my
Joan I
wholesome
live in is the
wonderland.
Thunderdome.
Well, it's funny. I vacillate back and forth between like being like, fuck this person, and be like, I had a really beautiful experience today.
your response to Ibram Kendi the other day, I was just like I wanted to give you a standing ovation in my
Oh,
room.
thank you.
That was so
What
good.
was it?
When you said you pussy,
Oh yeah.
I was like, fuck yeah.
See
dude.
that I wouldn't approve of that at all.
I know.
I'm way too wholesome.
I know.
But
I-
no, because you backed it up. So that it was you pussy, and then you said like you were talking about how
I
he
remember.
had been given the chance to bring out his sort of heaviest intellectual artillery, and
Yeah.
he just like ran away.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think the phrase I used was like either like wave the white flag,
Yep.
or put up, but like don't just run away. And be like, oh no, I'm not going to do it. It's like, I'm not going to debate you because you're not worth it.
And give you all this other stuff,
Who was he gonna
things other
debate?
people had said.
Was it John McWhorter?
No, it was Larry Elder.
Larry Elder, that's right.
No, I
Yeah.
don't want to see that. I want to see like a Glenn
That's
Lowry
racist.
debate.
Yeah.
I I thought
have qualms about
my
Larry Elder. but
my
I think
Twitter
he-
experience is I made this is a verbal meme. It's the American Psycho. I wake up every morning and instead of do sit-ups, I shit post. I can do nearly 1,000. I can do nearly 1,000.
You do post a lot.
I do shit post a lot.
I didn't even
I
see.
can do
I
nearly
think Twitter
1,000.
has like just taken you out of my newsfeed.
Oh, fucking censorship, man!
you're
I'm
not
getting fucking
wholesome.
shadow banned.
You're not wholesome enough for my.
I'm getting
feed.
shadow banned for
Yeah.
the feed.
You are. I visited it the other day. I'm like, I haven't seen any of these tweets
I'm-
ever.
Don't.
You're problematic.
All my suspicions are confirmed.
Yo, speaking of shadow banning, I posted a link to Trump's website where he has like his own personal Twitter feed
Oh, yeah,
that like
yeah.
Oh,
doesn't
boy.
connect to anything.
Yeah.
Because it was a really funny tweet about like global warming is the 7th biggest hoax in America, second only to like Russia, and Ukraine. And literally there was zero engagement at all. And I
It's
think
a
it's because
hilarious
they've
statement.
shadow banned any links
I
to his
just-
site. It was,
I
but it was funny. I was like, this is a, like
Why
you
has-
should like this tweet. 'cause
Why
it's not,
hasn't
like,
Trump
pro-
just like started a podcast and like
Yeah.
he's not?
So I followed Trump on Twitter.
No,
I neither love nor hate him. I just, but like when
He
I
just
follow him on
is.
Twitter, he was funny. He was
He's
just
really
like,
funny.
it was like this guy's nuts.
I mean,
like,
what I
entertainment.
tweeted like last year or a few months ago. I was like, can we all admit that Kung Flu was funny?
yeah,
Kung
yeah.
Flu was funny.
It was.
It
Yeah.
doesn't mean he's a good president. I don't like Trump. I didn't vote. I've never voted for him. But Kung Flu was funny.
I remember.
And I
This,
think we should all admit it.
sometimes he was a damn good troll. Like there was this one time he
He's-
tweeted
Yes,
out.
but he was the
Trolls.
president. He shouldn't be a
Yeah,
troll.
it's
I know. I
true.
agree
Yeah.
with that. I understand that. But like something, if you divorce yourself from the politics of it all, it's like this is fucking hilarious.
hard to
Like there's
do.
this one time he
The
tweeted out a video clip of Obama from like 2007 saying, you know, it's important for us to close the borders and to secure our borders and make sure
Sure.
that people aren't coming in and
Sure.
taking jobs from hardworking Americans. And then Trump tweeted that and he goes, I agree with Obama. And it was
Yeah, he was. I just think I would love to see him, like a retired, I don't know, like a retired racehorse. Just like you had your moment. Go.
stud.
I don't know. I guess.
Which I mean he'll do anyway.
Maybe it's not a good example. Like go like his PR team, his manager. PR must be horrible. Like the fact that he had some like horrible blog that didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Like just start a podcast. Like people would love it.
Yeah.
Like he would have his base. He would get people to go on. I mean, how has he not
I
done
don't think he
this?
has the attention span then.
Joe Rogan's like he's like I'll have him on. I'll
I
talk
would
to
have.
him. Like,
I
that'd
would.
be a fun
How
conversation.
Not
much
anymore.
money? How
No,
much
no.
money would you pay to see a Joe Rogan mediated Trump Biden debate?
No.
I would pay a lot of money.
Oh,
For
wasn't
3
there,
hours
that was
at
on the
this point?
table, I think.
Does
No.
it really matter what those two people
It doesn't.
Yeah, I
It's
think it
entertainment.
Yeah.
Solely
No,
for
it's
entertainment.
Pure entertainment. Yeah.
Pure entertainment. I would pay like a heavyweight championship pay-per-view.
Yeah.
To see that.
Interesting.
Yeah, 3 hours purely entertainment. I didn't vote for any of them. I think they both suck. But
I don't think Nate would pay for that. That's my guess.
no, I would pay for that. I would pay to watch that.
What if Trump like
Yeah, I would.
fed your chickens?
Your
and-
chickens?
And then you're like, okay, fine. Like you're exchanging values. Like, would
That's not his thing.
that be cool?
If you fed my chickens,
Yeah.
what are you talking about?
I'm saying like these.
Hey, what-
chickens? I'm just saying like
You think
exchanging
there's a
value.
threat?
Like, if you did
Why,
something for
why are
you.
you including
do you-
my yard birds in the conversation?
Okay, I'll
Do you get eggs from your chickens?
Yeah,
I-
you do.
That's
well,
awesome,
they're
man.
molting right now, so not as many.
Well,
but
wait,
yeah.
the chickens are molted?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
They
Their feathers are
they
like.
change exactly. You know, yeah. They
Shut up.
change.
I thought
their
insects
feathers.
did that.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Buffalo do that too.
Really?
So
Yeah,
do
they look really
grasshoppers.
patchy.
So there's still
Really?
buffalo?
Cicadas do that.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
they're
thought
a
like bugs
buffalo.
did that.
Cheers to the pest.
I think that's awesome. I always loved the idea of like that's why I like the lemon tree. I was like I like the fruit from labor. I don't pay attention, and squirrels just eat all my shit.
Yeah, squirrels. We got an avocado tree, and you know what
Yeah.
the fuckers do? Like they chew on the avocados and they throw them down.
Oh no.
You're like,
So it's
fuck
like-
you.
I know. They take a couple bites,
Fuck you.
just enough for it to rot.
You paid how much for this
I
tree?
want to say
Avocados grow on
if
trees.
that squirrel is strong enough to live here,
Yeah.
you're probably fine eating the avocado, man.
Yeah.
You're probably fine.
My dad
Yeah?
catches
What
squirrels.
disease can it have?
From squirrel?
What can it have?
Rabies.
Can it have rabies?
I think
don't
so.
care. I don't know. I'm
I
not
think
fucking
it can have
veterinary.
rabies.
Some
So, do
squirrels
you
also
see-
carry the black plague.
Really?
Rats do.
You're
Squirrels
you're
do.
chill.
No,
Ground squirrel.
Just cut off the
gerbils.
rest of it. Just cut
Gerbils.
half of it off.
I
Yeah.
think. I listened to like a long
Okay.
podcast about the Black Plague. I got real into it. 3-part podcast. I was like, fuck, that sucked.
What
14th
podcast was this?
last podcast on the left.
Oh.
They're so good. You guys know them? Oh, they're like a lot of true crime, cult, aliens. Not like
nice.
they're great though. They did a real in-depth podcast about stuff, and they did a Black Plague one. They were like the middle of the 14th century was the worst time to be alive in human history.
Mm.
Like it can get worse.
Yeah.
Like and it was really really horrible.
That sounds like narrative to me.
Ah.
Well,
There we go.
It's like people think COVID's bad. It's like COVID kills 0.05 or like 0.5% people. Black Plague's killing like 60% of cities. Like half of cities were gone.
Yeah.
40 to 60% of some like major European cities and in the Middle East and North Africa and stuff were just wiped out in a year. In a year, just gone.
Wow.
Can't even imagine.
It is hard
Can't
to
imagine.
imagine.
That's why I
hope it
wrote
did
that
not
short
happen
story
Again, though. It's going
about-
to, right?
About London, 1349.
Oh yeah.
Doesn't have to.
Yeah.
Just how
Does
nature
it have
works.
to?
Like half of London was just
I
gone.
don't really know
Yeah.
about
It's
nature.
In a
inevitable.
year.
I feel like it's kind
Pretty.
of inevitable that there's another big.
Yeah, do you want to start arguing about inevitable? No, we can't do that.
Oh no.
So you guys
I
write
mean,
songs with the LA
isn't
River,
it,
huh?
isn't it not Mother Nature just trying to get rid of us? Like, we destroy it. Her.
Yeah, I mean it's. There,
I respect
there's a
it.
cost to having so many of one species in place, you know.
Mother Nature's like, too many.
And there are
Too
ways.
many
There are
of
ways
you.
to balance it. Like I feel like there are ways to. I don't know if sustainably is the word for how you live, but more sustainably than not.
Where'd all the
That's
Doritos go?
In here,
Nice.
You got a Dorito
I don't have
baby?
a single one.
I have Dorito baby.
Doritos are
I'm
so good.
pregnant.
Who are you talking to?
Camera.
Who are you talking to? No one's gonna watch this.
I'm not releasing this.
Yeah.
No, we will, but still no one watches it.
Prime content.
As soon as we get to 18 followers.
My aunt will watch
Yeah.
it. Ben, you shouldn't say that. Fuck.
Yeah, this has been the Ben DeLessio show over here.
This one?
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
I-
We've gotten a lot of Benologues.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, usually. Sometimes I have to tell. I literally tell Troy, I'm like, "How did we get here?"
No.
I just go off.
Because of your Venn diagrams.
I just go off on tangents.
Yeah. So music.
Yes. Music.
Yeah.
How'd you
So,
learn
I want to
play
hear.
the
I
banjo?
want to hear Nate weigh in. How much of the songwriting do you do in the band?
He does
Not as
all of
much
it.
as
He does all of it.
He does a lot more than me.
Is it just the two of
Actually,
you?
it's more so Sap and Claw is really just Claw, and I show up at the gig.
That is
It's-
not
it's
true.
pretty
We
much-
do really long
He
rehearsals.
does. I want to say Anthony probably does like 85% of the work, and I show up for like the last little bit.
you play that one note?
I play the one
One
note,
note.
Like
and the rest of the time I just like shake my head. I'm like, Anthony, what's the next song?
You're good hype, man. You get the crowd all.
Oh,
Remember all
totally.
three of those people and the
All
Universal
three.
Farm Girl? Like they're all into it, man. Because of
Does
you.
Does UBG pay like a
Yeah.
guarantee?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
There's different ways of doing it there, but that's
Okay.
one way of doing it there. Yeah. That's usually the way I take it.
Very nice.
Uh,
So do you
what's-
when you do songwriting? How do you?
How do
What
I
is, it,
what?
what
Understand
is
we got
your inspo?
What's my inspo?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or we can go to a bar nearby too.
I don't know what my
Drinking
inspo
bloodshed.
is. Like, it's like I only have a few tunes. What do I have? I have Eager Beaver,
That's
Yeah,
a
pour me
great-
two
that's a
fingers.
good one.
Pour Me Two Fingers.
Light My Fire
Is
is
it
your
covered?
invention. No, but it's your child.
Arrangement.
Yes.
Sure, man. Sure.
Come
I'll
on.
take very little credit for that. But like, Pour Me Two Fingers. Like, I'll say, like, if you're talking about inspiration, that's based off of, forgive me for not remembering the verse, but there's a book, Proverbs in the Bible, that says, let the poor man drink and forget his sorrows. Right?
It's in the
So-
Bible.
Yes. Absolutely.
Bad Catholic.
It is. So that's there. I also was checking out this guy, Marcus Aurelius.
I've heard of him.
Slick.
I've heard of him.
Yeah, so yeah, that's where like that mostly came from, and the song's kind of
great.
like a communal like sing along bar song, like
And we
church
did it
song.
last
great.
time.
Yeah.
So we
I
added
we're passing out the lyrics to it.
And actually, we had
Oh,
a few people
nice.
sing along because I
Sweet.
dig this idea of community like,
Everyone sang
involvement.
last time.
Because like I don't consider myself like a singer-songwriter or like a performer in that capacity at all. But it's fun to have people sing along. I think when everyone sings, it doesn't matter how you sound. It's just the fact that we're all singing together. So
Happy
that's cool.
birthday.
And then Eager Beavers actually like that was just like a funk lick. And actually, what it was is I felt really bad that I wasn't contributing much at all. And I'm like, I really have to do something, right?
Come on, Eager Beaver is one of our hits.
So, but I had to do something, and
it's
so
one of my favorites.
so, but basically, like, I was like, yeah, I want to write a song about a beaver, and it's turned into this whole thing.
Beaver is now like it's basically our mascot, and like our
It's
last
almost a
our last
mascot.
podcast episode is called Eager or Super Beavers.
Wow.
Super beaver.
We just talk about beavers all the time.
They're-
My boyfriend really liked. So my boyfriend was there for your set like a couple months ago.
Long
And
Beach.
he's a big ecology guy, so he was
Oh.
like, beavers, LA River, like, you're checking all my boxes. Andy has
Heavy
chickens in his
stuff.
backyard.
Yeah,
Yeah, so.
chickens are cool.
All right. And yeah, I think that's
that
this
time?
is the it's time to wrap it up.
All right.
Thanks everyone for tuning in for the first in person.
It was okay.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna release this one. So.
I like how you said that to the camera.
You're not saying this shit.
Delete the footage and all right, everyone.
Thanks for coming, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Blockchain.
Get
Thank you,
out.
Sap and Claw.
Blockchain.
Brother
The
Anthony.
blockchain app
No.
episode.
Nope. Just
Brother Alma.
Brother Alma. Alma's a male name in Mormon. There's a Book of Alma in the Book of Mormon.
Really?
Yeah, he's a guy.
he's a guy.
So when I pick up the phone and call
Patriarchy.
people in Utah, they're like,
Fucking
you're Alma? You're
The
a girl?
patriarchy.
Patriarchy, man.
How did that happen? Then?
How did my name become Alma?
Yeah,
It's more commonly a female name when you're not Mormon.
when you're not okay.
No.
Well, now we know.
All
Now we
mine.
know.
All right, everyone.
Hi.
Bye, everyone.
Not
Bye.
Mormon.
I'm not Mormon.